to step up.
Before today's kickoff, down to the field here at Ohio Stadium, and we say hello to Michelle McMahon. Michelle.
Trust, Mark. That is the most common word that these Ohio State players when it comes to describing their relationship with new defensive coordinator Jim Knowles. These guys are fully bought in to that sophisticated, safety-driven defensive system installed by Knowles, as we saw on display, especially in the second half in that shutout against Notre Dame. So why have these guys trusted Jim so quickly? Well, the players tell us he's an incredible teacher of the game, and he builds genuine relationships very quickly. And it's because of this solid foundation that there's a new sense of confidence and no panic on the defensive side of the ball, so they can more easily overcome the inevitable growing pains that come with a system as intricate as Jim Knowles, guys.
Michelle, that defense for Ohio State last week forced Notre Dame to punt on the last 6 drives of the game, holding them to only 5 first downs. We will have a lot to share in today's broadcast about last week's defensive performance for the Buckeyes. But let's soak up the last few seconds of atmosphere before Ohio State kicks off to Arkansas State. The Buckeyes, ranked 3rd in the country, and the Red Wolves on BTN from Columbus. Ohio State won the toss. They deferred their option. Arkansas State will receive the kick of freshman Jaden Fielding. Johnny Lang and Reagan Ely. Will they have a chance to return? They will not. The fair catch is made and will come out to the 25-yard line for the Red Wolves, who defeated Grambling State from the SWAC 58-3 in their season-opening game last week. Butch Jones, their head coach, his second year, and the second year at quarterback for James Blackman, a transfer from Florida State, who threw for over 5,400 yards at Florida State at a very efficient 15 of 20, 75% against Grambling State last week.
And the thing you're hearing about Blackman is the fact that his confidence level is up. He's got a command of the offense. This offseason, he wasn't looking over his shoulder, wondering who was coming for his job. He understood it was his team.
Got a good synergy with offensive coordinator Keith Eckendorf, who's in his 4th year as the OC for Arkansas State. From Jonesboro, Arkansas, they've made the trip, playing Ohio State for the first time. And it's a run inside by former Iowa State running back Johnny Lang. Lang goes down on the tackle by Steele Chambers after a gain of 4. Lang last week ran for 124 yards in the game against Grambling. In motion is Champ Flemings. And to run, Vincent plugs up the hole. There was no hole because of the big plug by Vincent to make the tackle for the Buckeyes as we look at the Arkansas State starting lineup on offense. This is the front 5. Keelan Thomas, Mackay, Butler on the left side. Kaim Waleed, Champ Flemings. A couple of threats in the passing game for the Red Wolves. Lang lost a yard. Blackman to throw for the first time in the game, but he has to just throw it low. May not have even made it back to the line of scrimmage because of the pressure by JT Tuimoloau.
Now watch this. Ohio State showing pressure up here on the line of scrimmage. They're just going to go with the 4-man rush. Arkansas State is thinking we're getting pressure. It's 3rd and 7. They throw a screen. Ohio State did a really good job of being able to bottle that up. And this is what you're going to see from this Jim Knowles defense. A lot of varied looks up front, really trying to confuse the offense.
So we want to be able to prevent the offensive line from just roaring off the ball. That's the purpose of those different looks on the defensive front. Arkansas State didn't punt last week in the game against Grambling. This is the first punt of the year for Ryan Hansen from Taylor, Texas. And oh, does it take a roll? Yes, sir! All the way down to the 4-yard line, where the Buckeyes will start on offense after a 66-yard punt. in that Ohio State offensive huddle is C.J. Stroud. 4,435 yards last year, 44 touchdowns last week, 223 yards through the air, 2 touchdowns, 24 of 34.
It's funny, we asked Brian Day, what does C.J. Stroud need to work on? He was a Heisman finalist last year. Brian Day says everything. He's only his second year as a starter, so this game is going to be pivotal for his improvement.
In the backfield alongside him, TreVeyon Henderson, and Henderson over the 5, maybe to the 7, a gain of 3. And down he goes. TreVeyon Thomas at safety on the tackle. You know, one thing offensive coordinator Kevin Wilson told us about CJ's performance last week was, he said we didn't rank very highly in scramble plays last year, but made 3 critical scramble plays, including the pass to Mayan Williams on that long drive of the 4th quarter.
And that's a maturity play, keeping your eyes down the field, knowing what you're getting in the rush, and then being able to execute.
Hold to the left side, turning upfield, TreVeyon Henderson. This was snapped at the 7-yard line, and he will bring it all the way out near midfield. A splendid run by Henderson to pick up 41 yards on a first down.
We're so used to seeing Henderson get these big plays. Now watch this Ohio State offensive line as well. Latching on to blocks, and then Henderson just does the rest, being an athlete out in space. I know last week probably didn't get off to the start that he wanted, but starting off like this in this situation, great for Henderson.
A former Big Ten player from Illinois and played at Alabama before that, Eddie Smith, forced him out of bounds. And now Mayan Williams, 84 yards last week. He'll take the toss on first down, slice to the outside, bounce off a tackle attempt by TreVeyon Thomas. And Mayan Williams with yards after contact. He did a lot of that last week. Joshua, 14 carries, 84 yards. Henderson, by the way, 15 for 91.
This rushing attack is a true two-headed monster. At this point, you can roll with Henderson. You get the change of pace with Mayan Williams in there as a bigger downhill back.
Oh! On the play fake and the rollout on the bootleg, incomplete. Emeka Egbuka was the intended receiver. The pass play is broken up by Sammy Johnson at corner. A 3rd down coming up for the Buckeyes as they cross midfield thanks to the ground game, the combo of Henderson and Williams. 1-0 for the 23rd straight season for the Buckeyes after last week's 11-point win over the Fighting Irish. On a very manageable 3rd down, Stroud pumps, has time, continues to look. Here's one of those scramble plays, and he throws on the move, and coming back to the ball is Xavier Johnson, who caught his first 2 passes of his collegiate career last week, and that should go for a first down.
Xavier Johnson's got some real momentum in his career right now. You see C.J. Stroud again with the maturity to keep his eyes downfield, but Xavier Johnson coming up with some of these big plays. He is known as a leader within that locker room, and now we get to see it come to fruition out on the football field.
Ryan Day told us yesterday he really learned to play football through his work on special teams. Now he's a full-time receiver and makes an important catch, as he did last week. Got the touchdown to put him in front for good. And a quick throw by Stroud. And another catch. Xavier Johnson, 2 straight catches. And, of course, Ohio State banged up at wide receiver. The injury to Jackson Smith and Jigba last week. He only caught 2 passes. Fleming also out of the mix, Julian Fleming. So an opportunity there for Johnson.
And what's difficult right now for Ohio State is a lot of defenses are playing them from the back end up short. So they're enticing Ohio State to throw these short passes. It can be frustrating for an offense that was explosive last year.
Down goes Henderson. Penetration into the backfield by Jaden Harris for Arkansas State. Starting lineup, Buckeyes on offense. Got 2 All-American preseason tackles. Paris Johnson Jr. on the left, DeJuan Jones on the right. Outstanding starting center, returning from last year, Luke Whippler. And then the skill positions with Johnson, Egbuka, Harrison as the wideouts, Henderson at running back, Cade Stover at tight end.
DeJuan Jones standing at about 6'8", 360 pounds. That's a big man, but he's got really light feet on the football field.
From Indianapolis, he's the right tackle and ready to block here on this 3rd down play. Stroud with a good pocket, and he throws it over the middle, and it's caught, and there's space to run, and there's space to run to the end zone for Marvin Harrison Jr. It's a touchdown for Ohio State.
Well, Marvin Harrison Jr. was a guy last week. A lot of people expected to have a coming out party. Wasn't necessarily then, but you can see why so many people in this program are high on his ability to make huge plays.
5 catches, 56 yards last week. That goes for 42 and a touchdown.
The play was a touchdown. After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct. Offense, number 10, was first of the game. That 15-yard penalty will be enforced from the kickoff.
Well, that is most unfortunate for Xavier Johnson, but it's a touchdown for Ohio State. And they're in front 6-0 and waiting for the Noah Ruggles extra point. Former North Carolina kicker, now in his second year for the Buckeyes, and drills the extra point. And Ohio State first drive, by the way, after a great punt. That was a 96-yard drive, the last 42, covered by Marvin Harrison Jr. to put the Buckeyes on the board about 5 minutes into the game. The marathon scoring drive for Ohio State was 8 plays, 96 yards, 3.5 minutes. Much love for Marvin Harrison Jr.'s 42-yard touchdown run to cap it off. But TreVeyon Henderson had a 41-yard run. That was the field flipper. It moved them from the 7 out to the 48-yard line on that drive as well.
I know a lot of people were looking for this explosive Ohio State offense. Notre Dame gave them some resistance last week, but you can see, again, this offense has all of the answers to what the defense puts out there. It's talent, it's skill, it's everything you want to see.
An unsportsmanlike conduct penalty on Ohio State after the touchdown is why Noah Ruggles, or I'm sorry, Jaden Fielding, that is, kicks off from the 20. And then there's a return by Johnny Lang. He was also a kick returner at Iowa State before transferring to Arkansas State. Here's the TD.
I just want you to see these big guys up front, and then you're going to see the route from Harrison. It's a really good route. But these big guys, they create such a clean pocket. You're seeing twists. You're seeing movement up front. It doesn't fool them. And then Harrison, in a one-on-one situation, is able to find an area to cut back into. He can run past the middle of the field safety that's supposed to be protecting the cornerback out there. You understand why people are so excited about this young player. It's not just physical ability, but it's the talent to get out of that break and then to catch it and run.
And remember that drive started after a 66-yard punt by Arkansas State. Now a sidearm throw and maybe a smidge behind the receiver. And so Kaihib Wally doesn't hang on to James Blackman's second pass of the game.
Ohio State defensively, you're going to see a lot of coverage that creates tight windows for the quarterbacks, and they're doing a really good job of locking on. You're going to see Burke right here, maybe gets a little bit of a grab, but when that ball is in the air, he's got a nice target on it, just creating enough confusion in that window for the wide receiver not to be able to pull it in.
They were able to return the kick again because it was from the 20. So starting at the 32, oh wow! Coming free on pressure was Jack Sawyer. And a quick pass was made and completed to Flemings. Ball moves up to the 36-yard line for a 4-yard gain and a 3rd down and 6.
These 3rd downs are going to be critical for Arkansas State. They're going to want to sustain drives, especially seeing what Ohio State did on their first drive. Play call has to be aggressive here, but also smart.
Steel Chambers is up on the line. He drops back in coverage. Sawyer coming on the backside of Blackman, who throws it to his left. Out of the backfield, caught by Marcel Murray, but Murray rubbed up out of bounds shy of the first down by Cam Brown.
And again, Ohio State with this swarming defense, you're going to see playing some coverage, let the pass rushers work, and then when the ball is thrown, make sure that you can make a strong form tackle. Really good fundamental football right there.
Cornerback Cam Brown from St. Louis, 5th-year senior, with the tackle that prevented Arkansas State from picking up a first down on 3rd and 6. Picked up a couple of yards, but they're looking at their second punt. Emeka Egbuka, who shined to the passing game. He's also now the punt returner. A big middle rush. And Egbuka reverses field, and he slips through a hole. There is a marker down, back where he caught it. But Egbuka's still on the move. He broke a tackle by the punter. He's down the sideline and in for a touchdown. A flag down, though, back where he received the kick. Nothing more electrifying than a punt return for a touchdown. However, there is a bit of a groan that you can hear in the shoe, the recognition of what's probably about to happen.
100,000 fans, when they all collectively groan, it is audible. It's something that you can feel. Let's listen in to see what these guys have to say about it.
Still a discussion. And for the first time today, we hear from David Siegel.
There are 2 fouls on the play, both against the defense. During the return, legal block in the back. Defense, number 4. That penalty is declined. Prior to the kick, personal foul, leaping over the punch shield. Defense, number 3. That's a 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. First down for Arkansas State.
Wow. So not only is the punt return for a touchdown negated, but this leaping over the punch shield that you saw is what is going to be a penalty that will lead to possession of the ball. What is that, Taraja Mitchell, who went over the top? Yep. Now, I'm used to seeing that more on field goals and extra points where someone leaps over to try to block it, Joshua.
And that's a player safety issue right there. You saw the way that Mitchell landed, could have been a dangerous play. You want to keep everybody safe out there on the field.
So a 15-yard personal foul penalty, and the Red Wolves find themselves crossing midfield and snapping it at the Buckeyes 47. Blackman will hand the ball off, and Johnny Lang, nowhere to go. Grabbed down low, and hanging on to him was Cody Simon.
You know, this Ohio State defense, a year ago, a lot of people were groaning about how it wasn't aggressive and guys weren't getting downhill. Look at these linebackers running through. I mean, look at Simon. He sees the play, diagnosis. He's able to get on the other side of the line of scrimmage. It's aggressive football.
And in that particular case, it's technically a tackle for loss for Cody Simon. And here's a big hit by Josh Proctor on a pass that was completed out on the left side to tight end Emmanuel Stevenson. And Stevenson caught that right at the line of scrimmage.
Proctor played in his first game in about a year. A week ago, had some jitters, had to settle in, so he came off to the sideline. You see him back in rotation. And this Ohio State coaching staff is excited about what he can bring. He's an attitude guy in that secondary.
A serious right leg injury in week 2 last year against Oregon ended Proctor's season. Officially 3rd and 11. Pump fake, then a throw, and a receiver's down, and a flag is down as well. Adam Jones was the target for James Blackman. A marker's come down, thrown in the vicinity of where Denzel Burke was covering the receiver.
You know, when you get in this aggressive defense, sometimes you're going to see penalties. Now, you see the consecutive penalties, of course.
Pass interference. Defense, number 5. 15-yard penalty, automatic. First down.
And it is Burke, Joshua.
Yes, Burke, you see right here, again, an aggressive guy, gets there just a little bit too early, and you start to see consecutive penalties here, you know, on the special teams play, now on defense. For Ohio State, this is about maturity. One of the ways that you judge the success of this game is not just the scoreboard, but how clean you can play out there.
The drive sustained by a penalty for the second time. And now Arkansas State has moved to the Ohio State 33. And they will take a shot. And it's an incomplete pass over tight end Seydou Traore. If you're looking for the Minnesota-Western Illinois Leathernecks game, go to btn.com/gamefinder right now to see where you can find the game in your area.
You know, I love the idea of Arkansas State taking a shot right there, building momentum. You're sustaining a drive. You're in plus territory. Why not try to go for the end zone and see if you can't quick strike some points?
Seydou Traore, the intended receiver, is such an interesting story. Born in London, a former soccer goalkeeper, came and played at the Clearwater Academy International in Florida to get his football career started, and now playing in Jonesboro. And they're going again in the direction of Traore, and flags fly in for the 3rd time in the last little bit for Ohio State, presumably. Seven penalties for the Buckeyes for 75 yards last week. Are we about to see the 3rd on this drive while they've been on defense or, in one particular case, on special teams?
The result of the play is a completed catch. Pass interference. Defense, number 5. The penalty is declined. First down.
You see Burke just doesn't get his head around on that play. They're going to call you on that pretty much every time. And now this is where, as a leader on that defense, when you come off to the sideline, have a conversation with Burke. Just get his head back into the game.
And a great catch, by the way, by Traore. Wonderful hands and concentration. He's able to catch the ball despite the interference. And now Arkansas State has moved it to the 17. A quick pass, Adam Jones on the slant, wrestled down by Cam Brown. All right, now, how often do you see, Joshua, a guy get interfered with and make the catch?
You know, this comes down to concentration. Traore is a guy who plays tight end, but he's more of a wide receiver skill set. That's where he started off his career.
That just went for 7 yards on first down. Now the second down run inside. Jammed up in the line of scrimmage, maybe even a tiny loss here for Johnny Lang with Cody Simon plugging the hole.
It's a critical third down right here. It's a 4-point play. Ohio State, if you can keep Arkansas State out of the end zone, you save yourself 4 points. If you don't get into the end zone as Arkansas State and you kick a field goal, it's another 4 points right there. Maybe fourth down territory for him, but it's a 4-point play right here.
On third down and 5 from the 12, here is Blackman, and he throws in the end zone, and it's incomplete. And there's a shout for another penalty, but that's not going to happen for Reagan Ely. And a drive that's benefited by 3 separate Buckeye penalties stops for Arkansas State, and the Red Wolves will send the field goal unit out on to the field here.
It's a big stop for Ohio State. That's gutsy. You know, things are not going your way in a game where you expect that they probably should for most of the time. To bow up and get a third down stop right there, force a field goal, that's something you can build off of.
You saw Butch Jones, second-year head coach for Arkansas State. Freshman from Chandler, Arizona, Dominic Zavada with a 30-yard attempt. Arkansas State is on the board, the beneficiary of 3 penalties, and now they're down 7-3 with just over 9 minutes played in today's game in Columbus. Welcome back to Columbus. And next Saturday, we're all Big Ten all morning. Dave Rebson, Jerry DiNardo, Howard Griffith, and Nicole Auerbach preview every matchup, while Mike Hall and Brock Vereen deliver all the fun from Bloomington. Big Ten Tailgate presented by Tums next Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern on Big Ten Network. Dominic Zavada with his first career field goal. Just extra points made last week against Grambling State, but he booted through a 30-yard field goal. And now Tristan Matson with the kickoff at Ohio State, leading 7-3. Will start at the 25-yard line on the touchback. We'll be back right after this. We look at today's Auto Owners Insurance Impact Players of the game. Ohio State on offense and Arkansas State's Red Wolves on defense. Joshua, what are you thinking?
Emeka Egbuka, I mean, we saw last week a coming out party, 9 for 90. Saw a punt return that was negated. How about Cade Stover, the unquestioned leader of this team? And then Bennett and Carmouche for Arkansas State. 2 guys that are really smart players, and they got some explosive ability to them as well.
Kevon Bennett, a transfer from Tennessee. He and Butch Jones briefly overlapped there. And Kevon Bennett on that D-line, defensive end for Arkansas State, son of Pro Bowler Cornelius Bennett. Toss and run, TreVeyon Henderson, around 1 tackle, and then bumped out of bounds. A drive that starts at the 25. He's bumped out at the 32, a pickup of 7 for the Buckeyes, who lead 7-3. How about Emeka Egbuka? What a coming out party, as you said earlier. 9 catches all of last year, 9 grabs against the Fighting Irish last week.
Urban Meyer used to say when he was coaching Ohio State that in big games, there's always a player that's going to rise up to the occasion. It was Egbuka.
And in this particular case, the big player rising to the occasion is Marvin Harrison Jr. He already has a long touchdown catch, and C.J. Stroud drops that throw in the bucket to Harrison for a big gain down the right sideline.
At some point, it feels like Arkansas State is going to start leaning their coverage, their middle of the field safety, over toward Marvin Harrison Jr. because he's able to get behind this coverage. Again, a phenomenal athlete, but his ability to track the football while it's in the air and to finish plays is not like a typical second-year player.
A 45-yard pass to Harrison. Kenneth Harris from behind the tackle for the Red Wolves. And that's 2 grabs and a touchdown at 87 yards today. They had him flowing right, but now it will go to the left. And Emeka Egbuka is bumped out of bounds hard by Eddie Smith. as we flash back to the Harrison 45-yard catch.
I mean, you just see him out in the open field, stretching out, tracks the football, makes the catch. And there's something interesting about the way that Marvin Harrison Jr. is built. He's got a long torso, which means in some of the short and intermediate routes, his change of direction is phenomenal. So not only the long speed, but you're going to see him move different directions for a bigger receiver. He does a great job at it.
Got two tight ends now for the Buckeyes. Mitch Rossi along with Cade Stover. Motion on the play, dancing and darting and running and scoring. TreVeyon Henderson, Ohio State up 13-3 with the extra point on the way.
Henderson was a great job on the run, but you have to give all credit to the offensive line there. He had his pick of gaps in that play. See the stadium excited right now, but as we get to this replay, just watch Henderson right here. These guys are latching on the blocks. They're moving people, displacing defensive linemen off of the point. That's what you want to see out of this Ohio State offensive line, and it's a continuation of what they did late in the game against Notre Dame last week.
Number 0 on the D-line for Arkansas State, John Mincy, had a safety in the game last week. Center Luke Whippler. Talk about being displaced. That was what happened with Whippler and Mincy on that block.
And Whippler is a sharp guy, too. I mean, this Ohio State offense, it feels like, is growing up right before our eyes. You see TreVeyon Henderson getting involved early, but this offensive line growing off of their performance.
14-3, the lead now for the Buckeyes after Henderson's touchdown run. Tomorrow, stream women's soccer live on the Big Ten Plus app as the Buckeyes face Kent State. There's no plus like home. Download the Big Ten Plus app and subscribe today. Ohio State, 4 wins, a loss, a draw, and the Sears leads them with 4 goals. They've got a really big game against undefeated Rutgers next weekend, but again on the Big Ten Plus app tomorrow you can see Ohio State women's soccer against Kent State. What a day here at the Horseshoe. Home game number 2, 5 home games in a row to start the season for the Buckeyes. Big kick by Jaden Fielding. Touchback as we look at today's Auto Owners Insurance Impact players. For the Red Wolves of Arkansas State on offense and Ohio State, number 3 in the country, their defense, Joshua.
Yeah, for Arkansas State, Johnny Lang on the ground had himself a phenomenal performance a week ago. Champ Fleming's the same thing, a guy who can stretch the football field, but defensively for Ohio State, in the middle, Teron Vincent, the big defensive tackle, an experienced guy, somebody who is going to create havoc. And then in the back end, Ronnie Hickman, another veteran player known as a leader, is a part of this safety-driven defense that can get everybody lined up.
Player down right now for Arkansas State. Charles Willikis. So the numbers last week for Ohio State on defense, 10 points allowed. Those were all in the first half. By the way, a shutout in the second half. Joshua, 76 yards on the ground, 253 total yards allowed.
I mean, stats tell the story. Obviously, this defense has gotten better, but you can also flip on the tape and see the same thing. Players are declaring it for the offense, not the other way around, and you can just see the confidence building in this silver bullet defense.
Motion for Stevenson, the tight end. Marcel Murray, the running back, play fake. And James Blackman with the completion. He's 6 of 10 on the day, but most everything has been short and underneath, including that pass to Oregon State transfer Champ Flemings.
You know, Mark, you talk about being short and underneath. That's what you have to do if you're Arkansas State, because you can't block Ohio State's defensive front. Even when they're rushing forward, there's so much pressure coming that you have to get the ball out of your hands quickly.
That went for 7 to number 7, Champ Flemings. And there was already some movement coming from Eichenberg, but there's also movement on Arkansas State's O-line, it would appear.
False start. Offense, number 79. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
Former South Carolina Ole Miss offensive lineman Jordan Rhodes at right guard.
Yeah, you see just a little bit of movement early there. Again, Ohio State with this aggressive defense. These offensive linemen know that they want to get a jump on the ball to try to displace them. It puts them all out of whack.
Tommy Eichenberg was rolling downhill on the blitz. Here's a throw by Blackman, and it's juggled and dropped for Kaim Waleed. Broken up by Denzel Burke, a little redemption after a couple of pass interference calls earlier.
And it's so hard nowadays to separate the man from the ball because you don't want to create a hit that causes a penalty. But look at Burke trigger right here. That is a really good football play. A guy who's playing his coverage, he sees the ball declare, and he goes and gets it.
Outstanding timing to be able to jostle the ball free from Kaim Waleed. Pocket pass caught. Steel Chambers brings down the receiver, Marcel Murray, at the 30-yard line, which is 5 yards short of the first down.
Yeah, and you see this Ohio State defensive front as well. I keep talking about it, but it's a big part of their success. They're lining everybody up at the line of scrimmage, and then they're dropping guys out and rushing forward. We've seen them do this, but what it does for Blackman is it creates two pictures. You're prepared for when you're getting pressure. Now, all of a sudden, guys drop out, and now you have to find the windows in the coverage, and that's a difficult thing for quarterbacks to adjust to.
The other thing it does for a linebacker like Steel Chambers, he told us yesterday, we had a great chat with him. He says, I don't have to touch a lineman except once or twice a game sometimes.
It's a great feeling as a linebacker. I've been there before playing behind Joey Bosa.
There's the punt. Ryan Hansen's already had a 66-yard punt today. There's a fair catch by Emeka Egbuka. We're back at 15 seconds. Coming up, the tripleheader continues with 4 matchups, including the rivalry showdown between the Buckeyes and Cyclones, and 14th-ranked Michigan State with some action against Akron. Big Ten football, powered by Unleaded 88 today at 4 Eastern on the Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app. Running the ball, Mayan Williams. Ryan Day said yesterday, as we see pinballing off tackles, one of the things that Mayan Williams can do is turn a 5-yard run into an 8-yard run. I think in that particular case, he turned a 1-yard run into about a 5-yard run.
I was able to grab running backs coach Tony Alford yesterday, and I said, you know, it stands out to me as a former linebacker. Mayan always falls forward on his runs. And Tony Alford looks at me as seriously as he can and says, always. I mean, this guy is a physical behemoth.
Ran for over 500 yards last year, 84 yards last week. There's a quick pass and catch and first down for Marvin Harrison, his 3rd catch of the day. But a little bit more on Tony Alford, the running back coach for Ohio State.
He's a guy who I got to know when I was here at Ohio State. His first year within the program was my last year in 2015. And one of the things that you can say outside of the player development of Ezekiel Elliott and J.K. Dobbins and Trey Sermon, and now we see TreVeyon, Henderson, and Mayan Williams, he develops young men too, and that's a tight-knit group that he's coaching.
It's a 1-2 punch, and they can hit some haymakers. Henderson and Williams in the backfield. Stroud is throwing, and Cade Stoller, he's caught at 40-yard line, still on his feet, pushed forward inside the Arkansas State 30, officially down to the 29. Hard to bring down, much like the running backs Mayan Williams and TreVeyon Henderson. In that case, the tight end, Cade Stoller.
This is great play design. It's the play action off of the toss play that you just ran. They've run that toss about 3 times now. The defense is ready to trigger on it. Okay, well, let's run the play action off of it. We'll sneak our tight end out there. He's going to be wide open, sure-handed, and it's going to be a huge chunk play. Awesome design by Ryan Day and that offensive staff.
3 catches for Stover last week, only 14 yards. A big grab for Stover. And Ohio State's got a chance for a 3rd touchdown before the end of the first quarter, which is 58 seconds away. And they're going to move closer to the Arkansas State end zone with the penalty that's called on this particular play. Another pass intended for Harrison.
Pass interference. Defense. Number 9. 15-yard penalty. Automatic. First down.
TreVeyon Thomas on the penalty.
You know, typically you tell your guys in the back end, don't grab. But if he doesn't grab Harrison here, might be a touchdown. So not necessarily the worst play. At least you can put your feet in the dirt and play some more snaps here. But if you're Arkansas State, you got to find some answers for Marvin Harrison Jr. This guy is getting behind the defense constantly, and it'll be a problem as long as he's in the game.
Stover's pass put him at the 29. Stover's catch, that is, put him at the 29 from Stroud. And now down to the 14 after the penalty. And Stroud will turn and toss. Mayan Williams forced to the outside. He bounces off tackles, and the only thing that happened is running out of real estate. And when he ran out of real estate, he got hit in the wrong zip code. And it's a penalty on Arkansas State.
After the play, personal foul, laid in out of bounds. Defense, number 5. Penalty is half the distance to the goal. First down.
You know, and in real time, I'm trying to see here. He was clearly out of bounds. In real time, it feels like it's right there on the boundary. You want to make sure you can usher the offensive player out of there, but you can't extend, you can't shove him. You're going to get the penalty doing that. You got to be a little bit more heads up defensively.
51 seconds left in the first quarter. Arkansas State had a field goal drive that was aided by 3 Ohio State penalties. This Ohio State drive has been aided by 2 Red Wolves penalties. And now set up in a first down and goal to go at the 8th. C.J. Stroud flushed, throws on the run, and making himself open and available, but catching it out of bounds is Marvin Harrison Jr.
Now again, that's that scramble concept, right? C.J. Stroud buying a little bit more time on the rollout. Pass isn't on target. It's a little bit out there. Harrison's got to extend. It looks close. I'm not sure if he was able to toe drag right there in bounds.
Offense, 5 in the backfield. 5-yard penalty. Repeat. First down.
Well, even had he caught it, as you heard, there's a penalty on the Buckeyes that will move them back to the 13-yard line. You know, I know Harrison's getting a lot of targets so far today, Joshua. And one guy who's happy for him is the guy who got targeted so much last week, Emeka Egbuka. We talked to Emeka, had a delightful visit with him yesterday, and he talked about how happy he was for Xavier Johnson. And I know he's happy for Harrison because we asked him who his best friends on the team were, and he named off like 8 or 9 guys.
You know, from all the players that we talked to yesterday, they mentioned that this is the closest this Ohio State team has been, and that stands out to me. I'm sure the adversity from last year really brought them together.
Here's Williams slicing through a hole. This is first down and goal to go for the 13 because of the penalty. And Williams slices through down to the 6-yard line. Hey, that's a good thing, by the way, if 8 or 9 guys want to be your best friend.
Number 45
in Egbuka's case.
Came off during the play. He must leave the game for 1 down.
I'm not sure I have 8 or 9 best friends at this point in my life.
You trim them down. You trim the circle down as you get older. We'll see if C.J. Stroud and the Buckeyes snap it here before the end of the first quarter. They do. Second down and goal. Go on the fade. Egbuka's the target, and it sails over his head. Incomplete. Leaving 2 seconds left in the first quarter. Some hand fighting over there on the right-hand side between Egbuka and the corner.
Yeah, you're going to see a little hand fighting on both sides. Egbuka's extending his arms. You know, this is the shot that you want to see CJ take, though. You get a one-on-one right there to the wide side of the field. A lot of space for the wide receiver, Egbuka, to work. Just not able to make the connection there.
Taylor Doss defending. Matchup on this side, on that matchup again is Egbuka, and this time Kenneth Harris is the corner. Stover's in the slot. Xavier Johnson's in motion. Last play of the first quarter, and a bullet throw caught at the 1. Turning in, Harrison lost the ball, and the ruling is incomplete. Incomplete pass is the current ruling on the final play of the first quarter.
It'll be 4th down. That is the end of the first quarter.
Well, there's a lot to sort out here. Remember the 3 components of a catch. Control of the ball, body part down, move common to the game, and add on, did he break the plane of the end zone if you want to make it a touchdown?
This one will be very interesting. Ball's getting punched out here. I'm sure they're going to want to take a look at this one.
It could be the second touchdown for Marvin Harrison. That's not the call on the field. We'll see after the end of the first. The field goal unit is on for the start of the second quarter. Let's get an official. Well, we're not going to have an explanation from Mr. Siegel. It will be Noah Ruggles, 20 and 21 last year on field goals. Missed a 39-yarder last week, but this is essentially a chip shot from 24 yards. And so Ohio State now leads Arkansas State 17-3. Let's go back to the replay of the 3rd down and goal pass that was called incomplete. Marvin Harrison at the 1-yard line catches the pass. So he has control of the ball, or perhaps he doesn't. Body part down,
yes.
Move common to the game. Apparently not.
It was a question for us. We're discussing it in the break, and it looks like the components for a legitimate catch are there. And, you know, he crosses the plane as it looks from our vantage point. So very curious. I don't know if there was a review.
Well, let's ask Mike Pereira, our rules analyst. Mike, what do you think when you see this play involving Marvin Harrison Jr.?
I mean, I am totally on board with you guys. It's control and just the first body part. And then he turns upfield and the ball does break the plane, which to me makes it a touchdown. So I'm quite surprised that they didn't reverse that into a touchdown. You had the elements that you needed. Control, then you had the foot down, and then you had the football move. So a bit surprised.
It was not a touchdown, at least deemed to not be a touchdown. Short field goal was made. Thanks, Mike. And here's a return and making players miss. Johnny Lang. Nice return on the kickoff. And Arkansas State will have the ball up around the 30-yard line. Numbers from the first quarter. A first quarter that saw Ohio State score 14 points. Then the field goal came on the first play of the second quarter for the Buckeyes. 224 yards. Ryan Day said yesterday, the last 3 games that we played last week and the final 2 games of last year, he said, we haven't gotten off to a good start. We want to get off to a good start in the game tomorrow.
And it seems like Ohio State has done that through the first quarter, and we've seen a great mix of the pass game and the run game. I know that balance and being in sync was also important to this offensive staff for Ohio State.
For Arkansas State, for the Sun Belt Conference, throwing the ball, James Blackman. This starts on the 30-yard line. Oh, and he's got Champ Flemings open, and he caught it, stopped on a dime, raced up the sideline, made a cut to the inside, and that is a huge play for Champ Flemings, who's played in the past against Ohio State when he was with the Beavers of Oregon State, all the way down near the 10.
You see Flemings hit a double move on Burke right there. This is a huge explosive play. I told you that he was a guy who could break this game open as an impact player, but understand this about the Ohio State defense. Jim Knowles understands with the aggression that explosive plays will come. He says limit the explosives to 5 a game and you'll be victorious. So this is one against the Buckeyes.
That was 58 yards. Definitely an explosive. Oh, to Moloau with pressure. And a throw by Blackman and incomplete over to the right-hand side.
And so this is the game that you play when you're Jim Knowles defensively. You see that pressure from Tui Moloau. And you understand that you can do that more times than the quarterback is going to be able to sit back in the pocket and deliver a strike to an open receiver down the field. And so it's a little bit dangerous. But if you can just limit the times that the wide receivers can get behind your coverage, you're going to be successful in this scheme.
And before Blackman can hand the ball off to Marcel Murray, there's a marker down.
False start. Offense. Number 14. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
Butch Jones, head coach for Arkansas State. Former head football coach at Central Michigan for 3 years, Cincinnati for 3 years, 5 years at Tennessee. Last 3 years, or 3 years before taking over at Arkansas State last season, he said it was halftime of his coaching career when he went and spent 3 years with Nick Saban as an offensive assistant and special assistant to the head coach. Arkansas State pushed back. Low snap. Blackman handoff to Moloau. Oh, just gobbles up Marcel Murray. Goodness.
Yeah, I mean, you see this front again. It's crazy. Just the amount of penetration, the amount of chaos you can cause up there. You let one of your best players and Tui Moloau be able to jump underneath an offensive guard, knife in there and make a play in the backfield. They've got freedom to become aggressive. They can use their athletic ability against a less athletic player on the offensive line, and great things tend to happen.
And Tui Moloau blows up that play. It is now 3rd and 18 and an incompletion. Just trying to flare it out to Marcel Murray. And after a 58-yard long pass play to Champ Flemings, the Red Wolves move backwards.
That clock in Blackman's head now. The time is getting shorter and shorter from when he catches the snap to when he has to get it out of his hands. And you're seeing that right now. Even on a flare pass that's a high percentage pass, he's not on target because he's worried about this pass rush coming down on him.
Well, Ohio State's made a field goal here early in the second quarter. Arkansas State with Dominic Zavada attempting a 37-yard field goal angled right to left. And Zavada snuck it inside the near post. It's a timeout on the field. Arkansas State's second field goal. Buckeyes up 17-6. Football on the Big Ten Network is presented by Marathon. Marathon, the official fuel of the Big Ten Conference. Marathon, get the most out of your Ohio Stadium, 100 years old. They call it the house that Harley built because everyone wanted a larger stadium so they could come see Chick Harley, Ohio State's first three-time All-American, 1916, 17, and 19. His great-great-nephew, Rob Harley, on the 2002 national champion, spot shadowed there. And Rob Harley is now the defensive coordinator for Arkansas State.
And it was fun catching up with him. We asked him about the emotion of coming back into this stadium, and Coach Harley told us, no emotion, I'm here to coach.
Well, we'll get back to that in a minute, but first, Dave Repson in Chicago with a T-Mobile studio update. Dave.
Mark, thanks. Mo Ibrahim continuing his assault on the Minnesota record books, now sole possession of second place on the career rushing touchdown list, the 36th of his career, 4 shy of Darrell Thompson's 14-3.
So Rob Harley, yes, he did play that down in terms of emotion, but he admitted, hey, a lot of special memories. Got so many texts from the 2002 national championship team that was honored here last week during the game against Notre Dame.
You go down memory lane of your playing days, and he made some of his coaching inroads here as well. Mark D'Antonio coached him here at Ohio State. He got his start as a GA under D'Antonio up at Michigan State. So this place has a lot of emotional ties for him.
And now Ohio State on offense, TreVeyon Henderson, running play, gains a couple of yards. You know, Rob Harley said, so much of a place is who you're around. So not only was Mark D'Antonio a mentor for him, but think about that staff under Jim Tressel, Luke Fickell, Mel Tucker on that staff as well, Joshua.
A lot of great coaches on that staff, and it plays out on the football field because of this aggressive nature of his defense. He blurs the line between aggressive and crazy sometimes, but that's a mentality he wants to build among his players.
Second straight running play for Henderson, and forced to the outside, and penetration to blow that play up. Arkansas State, Malik Straker at linebacker.
You know, and that's one of the things that Coach Harley told us about. He wants to hunt together. He wants to build a team chemistry out there on defense. And as you see those players pursuing, that right there is an example of this mentality Arkansas State is trying to build.
It was interesting to hear what Rob had to say about defense in any sport is emotional on that side of the ball. And he wants his team to be intense and unforgiving along with that hunting mentality you talked about.
And that's Malik Straker right there, too, a very emotional player.
Stepping up Stroud on third down and incomplete. C.J. Stroud's pass behind Emeka Egbuka. And this is a 3-and-out for the Buckeyes. And as we've been talking about Rob Harley, I'm sure he's quite pleased with the 3-and-out by his defense.
You know, these are the types of drives that you want to put together if you're Arkansas State. 3-and-out, get your offense the ball back, see if you can't create a little bit of excitement. Now, I'm curious to see what they look like offensively coming out in this drive.
And the drive will start after the punt by Perth, Australia's Jesse Murko. 5 kicks last week, 45-yard average. He pinned Notre Dame inside the 24 times. You're talking about flipping the field. Fair catch for Lang, backpedaling a little bit to the 25-yard line. Well, we talked about Arkansas State's defense. How about more on Ohio State's defense from Michelle McMahon down on the field?
Yeah, Mark, communication continues to be a staple as they iron out the defense on that front. And Tommy Eichenberg, a leader there. On the sideline, there was a miscue on the last sequence. Tui Maloau singing the praises of Eichenberg, saying, thank you for communicating on that play. I did not see the call. And so Eichenberg continues to be a staple. One other ad, Jim Knowles said this defense is only 78% calibrated to all that it has to offer, guys. Scary thought.
Well, and interesting thoughts about Tommy Eichenberg that he shared with us yesterday as well. More on that after first down for the Red Wolves. Stutter step, Lang, who just had the fair catch on the punt, and scoots up to the 30-yard line. That's a 5-yard pickup. So Jim Knowles yesterday said, you know, Tommy's a guy who doesn't say much until he's between the lines, and then he's an excellent communicator and general.
His running mate, Steele Chambers, said, you know, Tommy's a little complicated. And it's funny listening to his teammates talk about him because you see the intensity out there on the football field, and you can see him communicating visually. He's very demonstrative when he communicates on the field, but they said once he's back in that locker room, once he's in the meeting room, not a lot of words out of him.
But Ryan Day did point out he stepped out of his comfort zone. He is talking more as a leader. He said it's one thing to be felt, it's one thing to be seen, but sometimes you got to be heard, and now Tommy Eichenberg is doing that. And on the tunnel screen, big hit on Champ Flemings, who had the 58-yard catch on the last drive. This one is just a 4-yard catch and run, and a yard short of the first down for Champ Flemings.
And that's Eichenberg right there. Look at him, change of direction. He recognizes the screen. He gets into pursuit mode and delivers a stunning hit right there. This is what they want to continue to see out of Tommy Eichenberg. Finished up last year with 17 tackles in that Rose Bowl game. I think that was a turning point for him to be able to grow his career, and it seems like he just hasn't stopped since that point.
Hey, it's a springboard from the end of last season to the beginning of this year when he had 9 tackles and 2 sacks, which earned him the Football Writers Association of America Nagurski National Defensive Player of the Week last week. Here comes Chambers. This is 3rd and short. Fake handoff to Flemings in space, and he's able to make a cut, stopped on a dime. That's excellent movement after the catch by Flemings to attain the first down.
You know, for Ohio State, part of your paradigm needs to be your leverage when you're tackling. You're going to see 2 players get outflanked right here. That's not necessarily how you want it. Make sure one is cutting off the outside, let the other player run inside out, and you might be able to get that down before the sticks.
For Champ Flemings, a well-earned 5 yards and a first down on 3rd and 1. Fake to Johnny Lang, Flemings. And Flemings once again makes the initial defender miss, and he's banged down at midfield. It's a pickup of 11 and another chain mover.
Flemings has this great ability to change direction in space. He's quick. Once he catches the ball, you're not exactly sure what his next move is going to be. So it's imperative for Ohio State's defense to make sure that everybody's pursuing to the football with bad intentions.
Champ Flemings at Oregon State in 4 years had 61 catches, over 900 yards. He had 7 for 122 against Grambling State last week in his first game for the Red Wolves after the transfer portal, and 5 for 84 for Champ Flemings today. Blackman under pressure, and he just throws it away because Ty Hamilton was in his mug.
And Ohio State simply just playing coverage right there.
There's no foul for intentional grounding. Number 7 was in the area of the pass. 2nd down.
And saying we can beat you with 4. They've done it before in this football game. It's great to see how the rush and coverage work together, and it's a thing that Jim Knowles talked about. When the big guys up front are able to get pressure and disrupt timing for the quarterback, it makes the job of the defensive backs so much easier. And we see the defensive backs be in conflict at times, just one-on-one. You got to make a play. Those guys up front need to pin their ears back.
Well, the 50, and this catch is Emmanuel Stevenson, the tight end. Cam Martinez hit him shy of the first down, but Stevenson had some strength to drag him across the 40 and a first down to the Ohio State 39.
We see Blackman ride that ball in there. We call this a sub boot with the tight end coming back across the formation. Difficult to cover at times because there's a lot of moving pieces, a lot of eye candy, and you have to stay disciplined in the back end of your defense.
With 9 minutes left in the second quarter, Arkansas State on the move. Ohio State has touchdowns today. Marvin Harrison Jr., a 42-yard reception. TreVeyon Henderson, a run from 8 yards out. They also have a short field goal by Noah Ruggles. Arkansas State, 2 field goals. And this opens up here. And Lang is taken off his feet. J.K. Johnson with an important intervention defensively at the 32-yard line to keep Lang from running any farther.
It seemed Ohio State was bringing pressure from the offense's left. The right side of their defense maybe had a bit of a numbers issue right there. And that's what you can get into. Arkansas State starting to understand some of the looks. Where can you attack this defense and catch them in a pressure look?
Keith Heckendorf, the offensive coordinator for Arkansas State, has to be pleased with the execution of the plays that he's called on this drive. Blackman will throw. Oh, and Cam Brown a whisker away from a pick 6.
I know Cam Brown wants that play back right there. Since what every defensive back dreams of. You're playing great technique. You want to step right in front of the football. A little bit too tall for him to get there, but a great play defensively regardless.
Intended for Plant City, Florida's Reagan Ely, who had 11 grabs as a freshman last year. Not on the stat sheet with a catch in his sophomore season as of yet. Be a long field goal if they don't pick anything up, including the first down. This is 3rd down and 3. Arkansas State. And a quick throw by Blackman. It's caught at the 30-yard line. Champ Flemings retreating. We'll see what the forward progress spot is. He was thrown backwards, but forward progress will be given to the 30. However, Joshua, that's not what they need.
No, Arkansas State here, do you go for it? Is this a situation where you say, we're coming into the shoe, this is a tough environment, possessions are going to be hard to come by? Do you try to extend this drive? I believe possessing the football is more important than field positions in a lot of situations, especially if you miss the kick, it's not really going to matter that much.
I think this is a bold and brave decision. I think you got to concur with what Butch Jones is doing here.
I like it.
And over 100,000 more to life. Timeout on 4th and 1. Arkansas State at the Ohio State
Arkansas
30.
State.
The Red Wolves call the timeouts.
Of the half.
For the biggest Ohio State experience, there's no plus like home. The Big Ten Plus app powered by Big Ten Network. Your favorite Buckeyes content, streaming and on demand. Plus the iconic games like ones with Joshua Perry and exclusive events only on the Big Ten Plus app. Download and subscribe now.
Arkansas State's got a new quarterback in there. That's A.J. Mayer. He's more of a runner. Ohio State needs to be on high alert defensively here. The offense isn't going to look the same as it typically does.
Mayer ran for 74 yards last week in the game against Grambling State. Flemings is in motion, and they've handed it off to Flemings, and he reaches the edge, and he reaches a lot more than that. First down is picked up on 4th and 1 for Arkansas State. Champ Flemings has really put his fingerprints all over this first half for the Red Wolves.
He certainly has. This looks like a read play for Arkansas State. Just handed off to Flemings. Maybe a little bit of a hold right there out on the edge, but Flemings out in space is a tough matchup for this Ohio State defense. Have to make sure you can corral him in.
Excellent point about the presence of A.J. Mayer in the game. That had to be something that drew a lot of eyes on the Ohio State defense. Now Marcel Murray, who had that block on the edge, by the way, that you mentioned may or may not have been a hold, that helped Flemings get around the end for the first down.
You know, momentum right now is the name of the game for Arkansas State. Maintaining possession, eating up a little clock, that takes possessions away from Ohio State, building on some of these big plays, getting a huge 4th down. You have to think that regardless of the outcome on this drive, they can parlay that later in the game into more success.
2 yards for Murray, 2nd down and 8. Lang, Michael Hall Jr., who was big time last week against the Fighting Irish with a tackle for loss to the 17.
Michael Hall was sensational, and it was the beginning of the play. It's the same thing we saw a week ago. He has quick feet and quick, violent hands. He's able to swipe past the offensive line, get a clean hit in the backfield. It is so tough for those big guys to get their hands up to knock the hands of the offensive lineman off. He does it better than anybody that I've seen in a long time.
Jim Knowles said when I saw him for the first time in spring with pads on, he was jumping off the ball, and easy to see that he was going to be able to help immediately. And here is Fleming. Someone had a hold of his ankle as he throws it, and at the 5-yard line, it's incomplete. Looking for Jeff Foreman.
There's a little conversation because it looked like the offensive line was not all on the same page there in terms of the snap count. That's this Ohio State crowd getting into the game. Of course, there was no penalty called on that one, but something to look for later in the game, how the crowd in this environment can affect what Arkansas State wants to do offensively.
With 5:28 to play in the first half, Dominic Zavada from 35 yards out, looking to go 3 for 3 on 3-point tries in the game. He does exactly that. Arkansas State, another drive for 3. Ohio State leads the Red Wolves by 8 in Columbus. We're back after this from the idyllic Ohio State campus here in Columbus at the shoe. 17-9. Ohio State in front of Arkansas State with 5:22 left in the first half. Arkansas State won last week. They just had a drive, by the way, that ended with their 3rd field goal of the day. Butch Jones, their head coach, said first games are games of the unknown, is what he told us, but we played like a connected football team last week, and not just complimentary football, he said, but the energy that we played with. And the first game was confirmation of a lot of things he felt like that they instilled last season.
This idea of complementary versus connected really stood out to me because he's trying to build a true team culture, and he's got a lot of guys who are new in this program, turnover over the last couple of years, a great recruiting class that he's brought in. But if you look at the product on the field right now, it's exactly what his on-field culture is, and this is going to sound familiar to Ohio State fans. Butch Jones told us 4 to 6, A to B.
Yeah.
It sounds a lot like my former coach in Urban Meyer, but you can see it out here right now. Regardless of what the scoreboard says, Arkansas State is giving you 4 to 6, A to B.
They've had 3 drives that have produced points, but Ohio State's defense has stiffened on all 3 occasions and prevented those points from being 6 or 7 points and limited them to 3.
That's a big deal, and you can't get frustrated just giving up field goals. That's a win every time you go out there as a defense because Arkansas State can't keep up if they're kicking field goals.
Mayan Williams running through arm tackles, and here he goes. A move just shy of midfield and steps out of bounds right on the 50. That's a 25-yard run for Mayan Williams.
I mean, just every time he gets the football, he is going to be breaking tackles. Just watch this. Gets to the line of scrimmage, stutters his feet down, 1 arm tackle, 2 arm tackles, a little bit of a stiff arm out there, and then you see him get out into the open field. And Ryan Day loves the way he plays this football game. Told us maybe he doesn't have the top end speed of TreVeyon Henderson, but his game is tight otherwise.
Now Stroud to throw, and it's Emeka Egbuka wrapped up and thrown down by Kenneth Harris. And Malik Straker tried to make an arm tackle on that run by Mayan Williams, and you're not arm tackling that dude, Joshua.
You can't do it. He's one of those players where you really have to lower your profile and wrap your arms around his thighs. If you can't do that, he's not going to the ground.
The pass to Egbuka for 8. Another throw by Stroud, looking for a lot more than 8. He's got a lot more than 8. Touchdown, Marvin Harrison Jr., number 2 on the day. In this first half, Marvin Harrison Jr. balling out.
This is what we heard about all offseason. And here it is. He's answered the bell.
4 grabs, 137 yards, 2 touchdowns.
It's explosive.
Ruggles the extra point. 24-9 Ohio State, Joshua.
And you see the backfield action. You just got hit with a big run. Take the top off the defense, take a shot down the field. This is great offense. Again, Marvin Harrison Jr. coming out partying.
State up 24-9. If this were a basketball game, I would say that Marvin Harrison Jr. is hooping today with 4 catches for 137 yards. More receiving yards for Harrison than total yards for the Arkansas State Red Wolves.
He is electric, and it's a combination of skill that he's built, but also just natural, raw talent as a defense. Anytime he's out on the field, you have to identify where he's at.
This is going to go out of bounds, so Arkansas State will have improved field position. Here's the touchdown.
I want to take you through this. This is a run look right here for Ohio State.
The ball will be placed at the 35-yard line. First down.
Typically, they have run split zone out of this look. Mayan Williams is in the running back. Just hit you downhill a couple of plays ago. You're going to get this one-on-one on the outside right here with Marvin Harrison Jr. Everybody is getting into that box, wanting to stop the run. Marvin Harrison Jr. is matched up, can run right by a defender. This is what you want to see Ohio State's offense evolve to. And this is why having a balanced offensive attack is important. Because that run game is going to open up exactly what this Ohio State offense wants to be. And that's a team who can take the top off of defenses.
And a pinpoint perfect throw by C.J. Stroud to Marvin Harrison. You know, the story of the game last week against Notre Dame, as we see Johnny Lang run, and that's a gain of 7, maybe 6 to the 41-yard line. There's also a marker down. Well, the referees talk about that. The story last week, 14-play, 95-yard, 7-minute drive to put the game away in the 4th quarter for Ohio State, and that was awesome for them. But then you have the ability to do what they just did, a 3-play, 75-yard drive in less than a minute off the clock. To grind it out was great, but the quick strike to respond to the Arkansas State field goal was superb.
You grind it out because you have to. you take the top off the defense because you want to.
There you go.
But you can't get there unless that run game is really threatening, pulling defenders into the box.
Personal foul, illegal block, below the waist, offense, number 12, 15-yard penalty, repeat, first down.
You know, the illegal block below the waist rules have been refined and clarified this year. This is the tight end Emmanuel Stevenson. Now, I wonder where he was lined up. If he was lined up outside the tackle box, that's going to be the issue. Jerron Cage comes across.
Offside. Defense, number 86, entered the neutral zone and caused a reaction by the offense. 5-yard penalty, first down.
Really good discipline by Arkansas State to change up the snap count here. One way to slow down an aggressive defense is to change up the snap count. Now they can't get off the ball the way that they want to.
Motion here for Emmanuel Stevenson. The ball's at the 25. First and 20. Red Wolves were pushed back. They get pulled back forward a little bit by the 5-yard penalty on Cage. Blackman steps up, lost the ball, and it just flew right back to him. And then plunged over the 25. A nervy 1 yard picked up for James Blackman.
I think nervy is a very good word for this. Balls popping up in the air. For Arkansas State, one thing you cannot do is just give the football to Ohio State. So to get back on it, the presence of mind there, salvage a play that could have been a disaster for Blackman.
2nd and 19, certainly suboptimal, but better than giving the ball up inside your own 30-yard line. And on that 2nd and 19, and a bullet throw by Blackman, caught, put his foot in the ground. Adam Jones turns upfield and picks up the first down. Out of bounds with 3 minutes left in the half.
You know, I'd like to see more of this out of Arkansas State. I think this is a really good job offensively. You're able to roll the pocket. You make the read simpler for your quarterback in Blackman. Get some wide receivers on some matchups that you like. Maybe take the edge off of some of this downhill pressure that's coming. That's really good play design right there.
Adam Jones from Knoxville, Tennessee, former player at Central Michigan, transferred to Arkansas State and had a 25-yard reception. The Buckeyes 49 with Ohio State in front by 15. Heading to the last 2.5 minutes of the first half. Johnny Lang running, and down he goes, tackled by Ronnie Hickman. Stick around for the halftime report presented by Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. Dave Repson, Jerry DiNardo, Howard Griffith will take you through the first half highlights and get you up to speed on a busy Saturday across the Big Ten. So busy, all 14 teams are playing at some point in time. Next on the halftime report presented by Reese's Peanut Butter Cups.
A lot of football today.
Man, you couldn't get any more Big Ten football than what's coming down the pike today.
I absolutely love it.
Coming to you from Columbus, Ohio, where Ohio State ranked 3rd in the country, looking to go 2-0. They're up by 15. Flemings has had a fine day for Arkansas State. He catches, runs into a crowd in the middle of a field. Cam Brown among those with the tackle a yard short of the first down.
You know, Flemings is not a big wide receiver. I think he stands at just 5'6", but you're going to see right here create maybe a little bit of a wall right there with the coverage, get those guys knocked off, create some space for your athlete. Again, great play design by Arkansas State, but you're up against a critical 3rd down right here. Ohio State, how aggressive do you want to get in Arkansas State? Do you have answers?
Well, one of Arkansas State's changing the question because they put A.J. Mayer back in at quarterback. We saw them do this on a 4th and 1, and he handed it off, but this time he'll run on 3rd and 1 and stretch forward, and I don't think he got there. No way. He actually lost about half of a yard because of the presence of Tommy Eichenberg.
And this is a high awareness play. Understanding who's in, knifing in the backfield.
Knees down. Ball did not reach the 39-yard line.
Charge timeout. Ohio State.
Might be a bit of an unfavorable spot, but did not reach the 39. There's a timeout on the field for 30 seconds.
Auto Owners insures your car. Because sometimes something from out of left field can literally come from out of left field. That's simple human sense. Ask your independent agent if Auto Owners makes sense for you.
With 57 seconds left in the half, Ohio State took the timeout. 4th and a yard and a long yard coming up, Joshua, for Arkansas State at the Ohio State 40. What do you do?
Looks like they're going to go for it. That's exactly what I would do. I mean, Ohio State in a minute could score if you back them up, or they could score from this spot right here on the field. Field position doesn't matter. Possessing the ball does.
Mayer was in at quarterback on the last play. Now it's the starter, James Blackman, who's under pressure and sacked by Michael Hall Jr. They went for it, and Ohio State denies Arkansas State the first down.
And those routes were going down the field. They took a while to develop, which is shocking in that down in distance. You don't need very much yardage, and it allows this Ohio State pass rush to eventually get free. Now, Michael Hall Jr. has been sensational over these last couple of games. Arkansas State, don't make it any easier on him by giving him enough time to get to your quarterback.
Michael Hall Jr. had a sack last week. This is his second sack, and he even got the towel of James Blackman on the sack.
A little souvenir for him.
And so this is a splendid opportunity here for the Buckeyes, taking over at their own 48 underneath Mayan Williams, and tackled low. Kept in bounds. Leon Jones at corner with the tackle. And Ohio State has used their second of their 3 timeouts. We're back in 30 seconds.
Their second of the half.
On a patronizing Fansville by Dr. Pepper.
That's called an off tackle. That's where the running back runs.
I know what it is. Did you just fansplain me?
I'm sorry. I was out of bounds. That's where a player steps back.
Dr. Pepper, the one fans deserve.
We pick up the phone because it's ringing. I should get this. Hello, this is Sam. How can I help you? That's simple human sense. Ask your independent agent if auto owners make sense for you.
Ohio State burned the second of their 3 first-half timeouts. The Buckeyes only had a 1-yard pass play there to Mayan Williams.
It's a drive starter for a 2-minute drill, screenplay, something you typically see. We're not able to get out of bounds. Ohio State wants to go for it. They want to make the most of this drive.
This is after a 4th down stop on a sack by Michael Hall Jr. and a low throw to Emeka Egbuka, and he's able to dig that out off the ground for a catch at the 37-yard line of the Red Wolves.
See the Buckeyes rushing to line up right here. Probably going to clock it.
Stops to move the chains, the clock does. And there might be a review of whether or not this was a catch. Let's see.
Please reset the game clock for 39 seconds. The clock stopped after a first down.
That's all that's happening for the time being. It's just a reset of the game clock.
The ruling on the field is a completed catch for a first down. That ruling is under further review.
So one more look at it here. Did Emeka Egbuka get his hands under the ball and keep that ball from hitting the turf?
Now, the ball looks like it skips to me, uses the ground to control it. You can see it moving in there. Yes. To me, this looks like an incomplete pass.
There's a definite probability it's coming back. It would have, and still could. We'll see what the replay of the decision of Don Bondi is. Looking at it right now, but it's a 14-yard pass to Egbuka that may or may not stand. Ohio State has 2 touchdown passes today to Marvin Harrison Jr., if you just tuned in. Also a touchdown run for TreVeyon Henderson, a short field goal. Arkansas State has kicked 3 field goals, but they tripped up a little bit on their last drive. They went for, they had a 3rd and 1 at the Ohio State 40 and didn't convert, and actually lost half of the yard. Then on 4th and a yard and a half, Michael Hall Jr. with the sack, and that's why Ohio State has the ball here in this final minute opportunity, scoring opportunity at the end of the first half.
Like the 3rd down call, didn't like the 4th down call. Ohio State gets the ball back. They want to create a 2-minute drill. Obviously, the goal is always to put points up on the board, but think about this: if you're the Buckeyes, you haven't had a chance really to work a 2-minute drill in a game situation. So these are also valuable reps for the players out there on the field to get into the mechanics of going down the field when you got to have it in the 2-minute.
First of 5 straight at home to start the year. Toledo, Wisconsin, Rutgers the next 3. Here we go.
After further review, the ball touched the ground while not in complete control by the receiver. It is an incomplete pass. It'll be 3rd and 9 at the 49-yard line. The clock is correct, and we'll start at the snap.
You know, and the issue so much isn't the ball touches the ground. It's the lack of control when it does touch the ground that makes this an incompletion.
Butch Jones applauding his defense. 87 wins and 13 seasons as an FBS head coach for Butch Jones. Between Arkansas State, briefly, Central Michigan, Cincinnati, and Tennessee beforehand. 3rd and 9. Stroud forced out of the pocket, chased by Kavon Bennett, chased by Jordan Carmouche, and Carmouche, they forced him out of bounds. There are shouts from the Ohio Stadium crowd about a potential late hit out of bounds.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you're going to throw the late hit. They made contact inbounds. Maybe the second player coming in was a little bit late to the party. You know, it's the risk of putting your quarterback on the move. I know some Ohio State fans want to see CJ create a little bit more with his legs. Put yourself out there, susceptible to getting hit a little bit too.
Ethan Hassler was the second player, number 32, that came in. Carmouche, the Mike linebacker, had hold of him inbounds, and then the question mark was what happened vis-a-vis Hassler and whether that was an inbounds or late hit out of bounds. Jesse Murko's punt. 30 seconds left in the half. Arkansas State doesn't have anyone back. This will check up. Oh! Down at the 1-yard line by Josh Proctor. A starting safety on special teams makes that play with 21 seconds left in the half. Back in after a short break. Do stay tuned for the halftime report presented by Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. Dave Refson, Jerry DiNardo, and Howard Griffith take you through the first half highlights. Get you up to speed on a busy Saturday across the Big Ten. Next on the halftime report presented by Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. Proctor is deemed to officially have downed that for the Buckeyes at the 3-yard line. But it's still a really uncomfortable spot for James Blackman and Arkansas State on offense here at the end of the half. And a very safe play call, although it still was bottled up there for a moment for Johnny Lang. He was able to squeeze forward once there was that initial contact to the goal line, and Lathan Ranson a tackle.
It's probably the worst situation to be in for Arkansas State, backed up, knowing that these defensive linemen are quick and they're aggressive, able to salvage it right there.
Ransom makes the tackle, and the first half is over. And after the first half hour, it is a 24-9 lead for third-ranked Ohio State. The Buckeyes, after the win over Notre Dame last week, 24-9 they lead. Michelle McMahon with Ryan Day here in just a moment.
Got a flag down there.
Yeah, a little bit of extracurricular.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, there are lovers and there are fighters. I mean, that didn't seem like too much.
No, little chesting up.
24-9, the lead for the Buckeyes over Arkansas State. There's Butch Jones, Arkansas State's head coach, talking with the officiating crew as we go down to Michelle now with Ryan Day.
Thanks so much, Coach. A little skirmish at the end there with the refs and a long conversation. What was that about?
Just a little something here at the end of the half. We just got too many penalties here. We got to do a better job with those.
In terms of defense, Michael Hall Jr. continues to be the star there. This guy started on the threes early in camp. What's been the most impressive part about his performance?
He plays hard. He gets in the backfield. He's quick, and so he's been doing a good job. But, overall, we just got to play better. I mean, did some good things, but we got to come out in the second half and play better.
All right, Coach, thanks so much. Guys, back up to you.
Well, Michael Hall Jr. certainly blew up a fourth down play for a sack, but Ohio State did not capitalize on the ensuing possession at the end of the half. They don't tack on any more points, but they still tote a 15-point lead into the locker room at halftime. They're on the Big Ten Network. It's Ohio State 24, Arkansas State 9. From Columbus, Ohio, it's Ohio State 24, Arkansas State 9. At the half here on Big Ten Network. Ohio State will have the ball on offense. Their offense has already produced 24 points. This is 63 straight games of 20-plus points, as we see in today's Liberty Mutual Big Stat. This is now tied for the second longest streak in FBS history. They could reach the record this year. Oklahoma, they had a 69-game streak that ended last year in a game in Week 4 against West Virginia. I'm Mark Followell, joined by Joshua Perry. The offensive stats are great, but this former Ohio State linebacker and national champion needs to talk some defense that did more good than not so good in the first half in terms of holding Arkansas State to 9 points, Joshua.
9 points is a win absolutely on defense. You look at the rushing numbers, I thought it was a strong performance with the rushing defense. You question the ball going over their head in the passing game, maybe some missed tackles that can be cleaned up, always something that you can work on, but the overall performance has been great. I love the mentality of this Ohio State defense as well, saying that the ball goes over our head, we just need to get our feet back in the ground and play ball.
Before the kickoff of the second half, down to the field of Michelle McMahon. Michelle.
Thanks, guys. Had a chance to catch up with Butch Jones on the other side of this matchup against Ohio State. I asked him how he would evaluate his team's performance so far. He said, I like the competitive grit and the resolve so far, but still just a few too many mistakes. I asked him also what the biggest challenge Ohio State presents. He said, first of all, the line of scrimmage and the perimeter. There's a reason this is the number 3 team in the nation. They force you to play almost perfect. As for his final message to his team heading into the second half, he said, make it a fourth quarter game. You know this is going to be a tough matchup. We're going to have to weather some storms, but keep up the hard work and force this into the fourth quarter, guys.
Joshua and I were just talking about this off the air before we came on here to start the third quarter. And Joshua, if I am playing for Arkansas State right now, I love how my head coach is coaching the game, because essentially what he's conveying is coach believes in us. The way that he's coached the game in the first half.
Yes.
With going forward on fourth down twice and other things that he's done.
Aggressive play calling, going forward on fourth down, all the things that players want their coach to do, especially in a game where you don't have very much to lose. I like the mentality. I'm sure the players are eating it up, and in their locker room, a lot of them probably feel like they're a couple of breaks away from really making this thing a game.
Now, there was an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty on Teron Vincent at the end of the half. And so that's why Arkansas State kicked the ball off from the 50-yard line and easily booted through the end zone. So for the 25-yard line, Buckeyes with the ball to start the third quarter. Offensive star of the first half. Man of the match, Marvin Harrison Jr. so far. 137 yards in the first half. Wow. Most receiving yards in the first half of a home game since 2015. That's good company.
Paris Campbell, second-round pick to the Indianapolis Colts. Chris Olave, first-rounder down there in New Orleans.
But right now it's Emeka Egbuka who will add to his receiving yards total. Catches on the rollout from Stroud, and this is all the way down to the Arkansas State 31. So a 44-yard pass play to open up the second half for the Buckeyes.
This is how I wanted to see Ohio State come out in the second half. You have to be mature, go out and make the plays you're supposed to. Emeka Egbuka has been phenomenal, and I love talking to him because he says, listen, my role is expanding. I understand football is football. And you see him making the same plays over and over again. Anytime you need him, he's right there ready to go.
Emeka Egbuka from the oldest incorporated town in Washington, Steilacoom, Washington. With strength and power. That is a straight up the gut run for TreVeyon Henderson inside the 25-yard line of the Red Wolves.
Let me tell you, I like this attitude out of TreVeyon Henderson right now. He turns around, he's got a defender in his face, little jawing, doesn't cross the line, but a physical run that he just had right there. Everybody's talking about how Mayan Williams is a physical downhill back and he's a change of pace. TreVeyon Henderson is saying, no, I can do that too. And he just displayed it right there.
1,248 yards, 15 touchdowns last season. 91 yards for TreVeyon Henderson last week. He just ran for 8. And they have gashed Arkansas State. And TreVeyon Henderson has his second touchdown of the day. Doubling up in the end zone, Marvin Harrison Jr. and TreVeyon Henderson today.
Just mentioned how TreVeyon showed off that physicality, but here you see that raw speed that Ryan Day talks about and that he loves. If this is a running back that breaks out into the open field, he can take it the distance.
Today, the Buckeyes have 2 75-yard touchdown drives that have taken 3 plays. One was just under a minute. That one was 1 minute and 20 seconds. Quick strike, lightning quick strikes today for the Buckeyes. Here's the run for Henderson. Second touchdown of the day. TreVeyon Henderson's second touchdown run has extended Ohio State, the number 3 team in the country, and their lead to 31-9 in a home game number 2 of 2022. They lead by 22 over the Arkansas State Red Wolves in the first ever meeting between Arkansas State and Ohio State. Jaden Fielding's kickoff. You know, this is a big day and a big weekend at Ohio State with numerous inductions into the Ohio State Sports Hall of Fame, and one of them going in. Had a pretty good career football-wise here at Ohio State and in the NFL. Sean Springs is with Michelle McMahon.
And he is the highest drafted player in Ohio State history in terms of his 13-year prolific NFL career. Quarter. I don't want to shy you short. Sean, what is the significance of being enshrined into the Ohio State Hall of Fame?
Well, I'm just humbled to be inducted with some great other athletes who played at Ohio State, those who came before me. It's just an honor. Great program, a lot of great sports.
You played under the great John Cooper. What kind of memories resurface for you when you come back here on the sideline?
Exciting memories. I recall the days of being on the sideline, playing with some great players from Orlando Pace, Eddie George, Terry Glenn, Joey Galloway. Some great memories, some great games, the 95 Notre Dame game, and just the battles that we had here against Penn State and some other teams.
Part of that infamous silver bullet defense. So now I've got to draw on that cornerback background. What do you think of Jim Knowles' new aggressive system here at Ohio State?
I actually love it because now you got some athletes on the field. You got like a 3-4 safety system. The corners are running. Everybody's running to the ball. They're playing aggressive and they're playing fast. You know, they're not giving up a lot of plays, keeping the ball in front and just running to the ball.
All they're missing is you, Sean. Thanks so much for the time.
I can't play anymore. They give up some big plays if I was out there.
Guys, back up to you.
He's talking about how the safeties play so well. How about the corner, Denzel Burke, by the way, on that tackle in space against Champ Flemings on second down.
That was physical. I mean, you see the high end of Burke, and it makes you really excited. I want to see more consistency out of him. He's had some bad plays with holding and penalties, but the high end out of Burke is just phenomenal.
Man, what a list that Sean Springs just ran down. Joey Galloway, Terry Glenn, Eddie George, Orlando Pace.
I'm telling you.
3rd and 13 for Arkansas State. There's a marker down.
Offside. Defense, number 9. Enter the neutral zone and cause the reaction by the offense. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Zach Harrison, 8.5 career sacks in his time for the Buckeyes. Well, 3rd and 13 was an uphill climb. 3rd and 8. Still a big challenge for the Red Wolves. Ohio State opened up the second half with a quick strike touchdown drive to extend the lead to 31-9. And now the Red Wolves trying to avoid a 3-and-out, but they don't. Oh, Steele Chambers untouched. And down goes Blackman.
Oh, man, Ohio State again with this aggressive defense. Now walking in the linebackers, and Steel Chambers, who is known as a gamer on this team, gets to go in there. And this is exactly what you draw up. Your linebacker gets a free run at the quarterback. They tell you defensive backs to take the afternoon off when that type of stuff happens. They don't even have to be in coverage. It's just really, really good design defensively and a great play by Chambers.
You know, we talked to Steel Chambers yesterday. He used to be a running back, a couple hundred yards rushing in the 2019-20 seasons. But he said yesterday, too, as I officially feel like a linebacker, my instincts and linebacker awareness is much better. And that was some awareness.
He officially looks like a linebacker when he makes plays like that.
Waving for the fair catch is Emeka Egbuka right on the Buckeyes' 40-yard line. Ohio State the ball and a chance to up the lead. 31-9, they're in front. Football on the Big Ten Network is brought to you by Auto Owners Insurance, simple human sense. By Velveeta. And by Discover, the official credit card of the Big Ten Conference. The Jack Nicklaus Museum in Columbus, Ohio is now 20 years old. Artifacts from one of the most incredible American sports careers of the 20th century. The Golden Bear, born in Columbus in 1940, 18 majors. There's a throw to number 18, Marvin Harrison Jr., the catch for 8 yards. The 1986 Masters, the putter going skyward when he held the putt on 17, one of the most iconic images in the game of golf. Some of the career accomplishments for Jack Nicklaus.
You know, it's somebody who's just starting to become a golf fan. Being in Columbus, Ohio, you got to be a fan of the Golden Bear, and he's got some beautiful courses out there that he's designed as well, but just the legacy is awesome.
C.J. Stroud back to throw for the Buckeyes, and down the middle, Emeka Egbuka, and he is gone. I thought a 3-play drive was a quick strike. How about a quicker strike drive? 2 plays for Ohio State to find pay dirt.
I mean, I'm wondering what was said in the locker room that the offense comes out like this. It's been really aggressive, high level of execution, and C.J. Stroud deserves a ton of credit on that. Just his patience to be able to sift through his reads, to place a nice touch pass over the top to a wide open Egbuka. That is a professional play. They're going to be really proud of this as they watch it in the film room tomorrow. C.J. Stroud, go through progression, step up in the pocket. Nice touch pass, hit your wide open receiver. It's great football right there.
We bring you today's Built for Success, brought to you by Rocket Mortgage. Since C.J. Stroud was born in October 2001, Ohio State has a phenomenal 228-win, 41-loss record. Of course, C.J. has led Ohio State to 12 of those wins and approaching number 13 with their 38-9 lead they have today over Arkansas State. Jaden Fielding's kickoff. A little momentum to run up and field it. Johnny Lang at the 5-yard line and out near the 25. And Stroud just threw his 3rd touchdown pass. This one to Emeka Egbuka.
And, you know, C.J. Stroud has things to work on in his game, believe it or not. We talked to the coaching staff, and they mentioned that. One of the things is poise and patience and maturity. And what makes that more difficult for a guy like C.J. Stroud is you deal with the chaos on the field, but you also deal with these unrealistic expectations off the field, and that seeps into your game. And he's handled it like a true pro, and that play was an example of it.
And here is a bad snap that James Blackman picks up and reaches the line of scrimmage, the 26-yard line. This is pregame. Remember that Ohio State without Jackson Smith and Jigba today, he's hurt. But CJ's leading the dance off.
Yeah, CJ's getting in there, getting his guys fired up, and everybody says he's a leader around the program. They say he's a genuine guy. And the way that he handles himself on the field and off the field is a way that people are proud of. And, you know, he's over there hanging out with the guys, having some fun.
Here's a marker down.
Offside. Defense, number 33, entered the neutral zone and caused a reaction. 5-yard penalty, second down.
It's on Jack Sawyer.
I'd mentioned about the snap count earlier for Arkansas State, and they've gotten Ohio State, I believe, 3 times now.
Yes.
So down the line, this is something Ohio State's going to have to be prepared for. Teams are seeing this, so they're going to try it to them down the line as well.
Tight end Emmanuel Stevenson in motion. And a running play here from Marcel Murray, blasted by Josh Proctor and Tommy Eichenberg. You know, back to that point about Stroud and the way he carries himself and how his teammates feel about him. Emeka Egbuka told us yesterday, everyone sees on Saturday what C.J. Stroud is, but we see 24/7 the kind of person he is and how he carries himself around the building, and added in, and he's also got a special arm talent that can put the ball anywhere.
But in this world of name, image, and likeness, it would be easy for the star quarterback at Ohio State to blow off his teammates and act like he's got better things to do. And CJ's not built like that.
Throw by Blackman and incomplete. Jeff Foreman, intended receiver. And they don't convert on. There's a player down, by the way. I believe that's Michael Hall Jr.
For an injured defensive player.
3rd and 5 not converted, and Michael Hall Jr., who had a 4th down sack earlier in the game, is down. It will be a moment before Ohio State, C.J. Stroud, and the offense return to the field. Here's the play involving Hall. While he's down,
timeout on the field.
We'll step aside with 8:58 to go in the 3rd. Moments ago, Mike Hall Jr. walked off the field under his own power after he was down before that last time out.
It's good to see him walking off under his own power. You know, play looked a little crazy. It's hectic inside. It's a big guy, and it's good to see him back up on his feet.
Redshirt freshman who, with interior defensive linemen like Tyleek Williams and Teron Vincent, has emerged as a starter and is playing so very well through a game and a half plus. Waiting for the punt here by Ryan Hansen. Emeka Egbuka is back for the punt from Hansen. He's had a 66-yard punt today. This is a good one. Over the shoulder catch. Penalty flag is down as well. Egbuka on the over the shoulder fair catch at his own 21.
Got a little jawing going on down there on the field.
I mean, it's just exchanging pleasantries.
Oh,
you know.
It's a bunch of friends down there playing sports with their buddies.
Right. There was an unsportsmanlike conduct called against the Buckeyes as the teams were going off the field at the end of the first half. That penalty was on Teron Vincent. 3 field goals for Butch Jones' team today. Ohio State has 38 points on 33 plays run on offense.
During the kick, personal foul, kicking team, number 8. A 15-yard penalty to be assessed from the dead ball spot. First down.
On Eddie Smith, the penalty. For the biggest Ohio State experience, there's no plus like home. The Big Ten Plus app powered by Big Ten Network. Your favorite Buckeyes content, streaming and on demand. Plus the iconic games and exclusive events only on the Big Ten Plus app. Download and subscribe right now. C.J. Stroud has thrown for 307 yards, and the vast majority of the distribution has been to next man up mentality. No Smith and Jigba. By the way, also Julian Fleming out for a 2nd straight game. Marvin Harrison Jr. and Egbuka have been outstanding.
And this is kind of what we've seen out of Ohio State offensively the last couple of years. The top few receivers get the bulk of the production. Jackson Smith and Jigba gets back in there. I'm sure his production is going to be phenomenal, but it's great to see the other guys who have stepped up today.
Kevon Bennett had to work for that tackle against Mayan Williams, but he's able to pull him down in space on the left side of the field. It's a tackle for loss. He had 16 and a half TFLs for the Red Wolves last year after his transfer from Tennessee. Low throw incomplete. After Williams was dragged down for a 1-yard loss, Mayan Williams was the intended receiver on a quick pass from Stroud. Bringing up 3rd and long now for the Buckeyes, mid-3rd quarter. Ohio State's only had 5 3rd-down snaps today. They've converted 2. They were over 50% last week against the Fighting Irish, 7 of 13. Stroud steps up, and down he goes. The first one to reach him was Sammy Johnson. Jaden Harris in there as well. Ethan Hassler.
See on the blitz look, Williams steps up, initially does a good job, but he's got to stay on that block to keep his quarterback clean. And if you're CJ Stroud in that pocket, clock's got to go off at some point. You see the pressure coming, you're getting through your progression, it's not there, either take off or throw the ball out of bounds.
Redshirt junior linebacker Jaden Harris, part of that sack from Monroe, Louisiana. 3 and out. Jesse Mirko punt. Ball hits at the 30 and rolls just a skosh. And it is down at the 29-yard line where the Red Wolves will take over. So joining us today, of course, 2014 national champion member, linebacker Joshua Perry. 2000 led the team, 73 tackles. Second highest total in the last 20 seasons. Look at that number 37. That looks like a cold Big Ten day right there.
It was a cold Big Ten day. That was up in Minnesota. Came out of there with some stitches on my leg and some cracked ribs. So we got the win, though, and that's what typically matters. I was a little banged up that time. Glad I'm up here now. A little less violent up here.
We have more to see in a moment. But first, Arkansas State's opening play of the drive. And flushed from the pocket and throws the ball away, James Blackman. All right, what else do we have in the video vaults? Oh, okay.
All right, so get the interception, 0-yard return, and I don't know if they show it all the way, but Tyvis Powell's right there. He wants to celebrate with me. I'm like, no, Tyvis, I want to celebrate by myself. And then as I'm running over to chest bump one of my teammates near the sideline, I fall over. It's like the first play I ever made in my career.
That was Kent State, right?
Yes.
Yes. Well, bobbled snap again, but still they hand the ball off. Blackman to Johnny Lang, and he runs outside and picks up a first down over the 40-yard line. All right, I got to see this this celebration.
I'm running away from Tyvis. Yeah. Get away from me. Go up, chest bump, Curtis Grant. Got me in the hip, Chris Worley, and I'm on the ground.
You know, you remind me, sometimes you see guys, you score a goal in soccer, and you run away from all your teammates at first to celebrate before you join your teammates. That's what that reminded me of.
It was the only interception in my career here. I didn't know what to do.
That was in a 66-0 win, if memory serves correctly.
The week after the Virginia Tech game. That's correct.
Yes. There was a message to be sent. Reagan Ely, by the way, with the catch. And into Ohio State territory on the Reagan Ely catch for Arkansas State, by the way.
And so for Arkansas State, this is a territory of the field where you would take a shot down the football field. So Ohio State defenders need to have some awareness and be alert that there could be the chance of a downfield shot here.
Just cross midfield. So well positioned to take that shot, but they'll go safe. Oh, wow, that's a tough run by Marcel Murray. He took on Steel Chambers at the point of attack, and Murray ran over him.
That was a really good play right there, too. Just in terms of the physicality on that run, Ohio State, it seems like, has been dominating at the line of scrimmage, being able to snuff out the run. And sometimes your running back has to make your offensive line look a little bit better. Steel Chambers had the clear shot on it, wasn't able to get it down. Ronnie Hickman again with the second contact, kind of falling forward a little bit. For Ohio State's defense, you want to make sure the first guy in there knocks the run out.
Marcel Murray's ran for almost 2,000 yards in his time at Arkansas State. He's from Hiram, Georgia. Oh, Johnny Lang He is swarmed by the Buckeye defense in the backfield. Speaking of the Buckeye defense, Michelle McMahon has an update on Mike Hall Jr.
Yeah, guys, he walked on over to the sideline, took his pads off, and the Ohio State medical staff was evaluating that upper body without his pads. He seemed to be slightly uncomfortable during that evaluation, but nothing too serious. He put his pads back on, gave his coach the head nod, said, I'm good to go, so he should be able to return back in the swag.
He has been good to go through a game and a half. A chaos-creating presence on the front floor for the Buckeye defense. They created chaos without him with a tackle for loss on that last second down play. A very quick roll and throw. Champ Flemings catches. He runs away from Denzel Burke and has a first down at the Ohio State 32.
Arkansas State went back to that rollout. I mentioned it earlier in the game. It helps your offense out tremendously. Again, the quarterback, you get a single read. You're able to isolate one of your best players out in space, and your offensive line is on the move, so they don't have to block players that are coming downhill on them. I'm not sure why they haven't gone back to that more, to be completely honest.
I tell you, Butch Jones has brought himself a player to Jonesboro, Arkansas, an Oregon State transfer, Champ Flemings, who now has 2 straight 100-plus yard receiving games to open up the 2022 season. Red Wolves have moved to the 32. And trouble, pressure by Sawyer. Ball's away to Seydou Traore. Blackman alertly at least made the pass to Traore, who's tackled at the line of scrimmage. Josh Proctor on the tackle. And it is a pickup of a yard.
Really good job getting that pressure vertical. You run right by the sub-boot. It's concept I talked about with that tight end coming across. But the awareness for Blackman to get that football out, that was a heads-up quarterback play right there.
Traore in motion. 2nd and 9. Fake handoff and an incomplete pass behind Reagan Ely. For more on Champ Flemings, down to Michelle McMahon. Michelle.
Yeah, guys, for as undersized as he might be, he has a whole lot of sass to him. Keep an eye on the way he's reacting after he's making big plays. Every single time he's looking over to the Ohio State defense bench saying, come on, I've got this. You got to see this from eye level. It's pretty funny.
Well, that's how you compensate for 5'6" with the sass.
All 155 pounds of him is going to let Ohio State know.
Well, he's let him know with his play today. 9 catches, 102 yards, and he's on a shallow cross, and that's what they'll look for. James Blackman found him, and then Cam Martinez runs him down from behind at the 28-yard line, leaving a 4th down at about 5 yards coming up.
Fleming's a little bit slow to get up after that play. Great job isolating him, putting him on the move. You declare what the defense is in. Looks like man-to-man. How about a shallow cross? Again, finding ways to get one of their best athletes in space. It's great play design.
Dominic Zavada from Chandler, Arizona is 3 for 3 today on field goals. The first 3 of his collegiate career. All he kicked were extra points last week. Longest attempt for him, 45 yards. He's made from 29, 38, and 34. From 45, and it's just inside the upright and good. 4 kicks, 4 makes today for Arkansas State's Dominic Zavada. Points for the Red Wolves. 2:49 to go in the 3rd. Zavada with the 45-yard field goal. 38-12. Ohio State, the Buckeyes at home lead Arkansas State's Red Wolves. Kickoff there by Tristan Matson. So I hear there was a special guest in the BTN production truck yesterday. What in the world?
Yeah, Brutus back there?
Take 2.
Look,
here, Brutus.
Now, as you see in the truck, look, there's a lot of buttons and small buttons that the guys have to push. Can Brutus Buckeye, with those big hands and fingers, push those buttons in the truck? I'm skeptical.
Sure. I'm not sure. But tell you what, he can get any environment excited.
Yeah.
That guy knows how to bring it.
All day, every day, especially on Saturday. In front of 100,067 today.
Wow.
In Game number 593 of 100 years of football at the shoe. Oh, Emeka Egbuka. Okay. I see Emeka Egbuka on the nice move along the sideline. Starting with a 25. And Egbuka ends up taking this over the 50-yard line to the Red Wolves' 48.
I love the fact that Ohio State is showing Egbuka in different roles within this offense. Of course, you want to get him down the field. You want to find the one-on-one matchup that he can win, but showing him coming on a jet sweep, now it makes defenses have to defend him differently. You have to have many answers, and he's already hard enough to defend.
On the jet sweep, picks up 27 yards. Buckeyes approaching 500 yards of offense. They averaged 561 per game last year to lead FBS in total offense in 2021. TreVeyon Henderson bounced off a tackle by Truman Gathers, by the way, nephew of former NFL defensive lineman Jumpy Gathers. So now it's a point of play for the Buckeyes.
It's not bad.
Not only did they lead the country last year in total yards, total offense at 561 yards a game, but in scoring as well at nearly 46 points per game. 21 last week, 38 and counting this week. Lion Williams thrown down as we reach the last minute 20 of the third quarter. Justin Parks with the tackle. Not an easy thing to do, dealing with Chop Williams. 40th game as head coach of Ohio State for Ryan Day. You just saw him on the sideline. There's a long throw. That shows off C.J. Stroud's arm all the way across to the far sideline to Marvin Harrison Jr.
Those are the throws that NFL scouts love looking at, when you can stand on the far hash and deliver it to the other side of the field. Because the hashes are so close together in the NFL, those boundaries become a lot bigger. The throws are further, and CJ's proving that he can do that.
To the 35 of Arkansas State. Toss to Lion Williams and forced out of bounds. 30-yard line of the Red Wolves as we wind down towards the end of the third quarter. A 14-point third quarter as we speak for Ohio State. Obviously still time for a play or two here at the end. Touchdown run for TreVeyon Henderson. Touchdown pass from Stroud to Egbuka. Now the Buckeyes have found the end zone here in quarter number 3. And Stroud is going up top. I said they had time to score here at the end of the third quarter, but an overthrow for Stroud trying to find Xavier Johnson.
Trying to give Xavier a little love on this drive. Again, Ohio State really working some of the one-on-one matchups that they're getting in the back, and Arkansas State wants to play aggressive on defense. They've been doing it the whole game regardless of what the outcome's been. So there are some favorable matchups out there for Ohio State.
Xavier Johnson's been a special teams ace, a DB, a running back. Kevin Wilson, the offensive coordinator, yesterday told us he's like the Swiss Army knife that never got sharpened up, but now he's a little bit sharper since they've settled on playing him at receiver. Caught a touchdown last week. Got a couple of passes early in the game today. Stroud throwing. This time it's from Marvin Harrison Jr., and it's a trifecta of touchdowns for Harrison as he secures it with 4 seconds left in the third quarter.
I'm not exactly sure if folks are going to appreciate that play right there. Marvin Harrison Jr. again finding his way behind the coverage. He's done that all day, but now C.J. Stroud has to fit that football into a window. The safety is coming over, and if that ball floats in the air at all, safety is able to bat it down or even get an interception. That is phenomenal.
Is that even a window? Is he like throwing it through a tire, swinging from the tree?
That's what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, the window is closing as he's throwing it, and he's able to thread it in there. And this is a contested catch. This is a tough throw into a small closing window. They're able to come up with it. That's phenomenal, guys.
7 receptions, 184 yards, and 3 TDs for Marvin Harrison Jr. Touchdown number 3 right here.
And here's the route by him getting off the line of scrimmage, creating the separation, but at the end going up to high point the ball. I mean, contested catch. You know the safety's coming over the top. He's going to want to get a hit on you and to reel that one in. That's a big-time play.
And you had the corner, Leon Jones. I mean, that wasn't bad defense by him.
He's draped all over him.
Yeah, along with the safety Parks over the top.
It's contested from every angle. And CJ, the location on this ball for Stroud, right over the defender, not too far that it hits the end of the window. It doesn't float in the air so the safety can step in front of it. Everything was done just about as well as you could do it on the route, on the throw. That's big-time football.
You know, we were talking with Ryan Day yesterday, and, you know, going back to your time, Joshua, you have a film session on Sunday called the Champions Meeting. And
yes.
When big plays happen in a film session, I mean, when you get the praise of your teammates, there's no feeling like that. That's going to get some big-time love tomorrow in the Champions Meeting.
There's nothing better. You work hard all week long, not just for yourself, so your teammates can reap the benefits. And when they see people that put effort into their craft, have the payoff on the Saturday, it is absolutely amazing for everybody involved.
A penalty on the final play of the third quarter.
Illegal formation. Offense. 5 in the backfield. 5-yard penalty. Repeat, first down. We'll have 1 untimed down. Correction. Ohio State has decided to decline that penalty. It'll be second down. And that is the end of the third quarter.
So no untimed down. And there were 3 touchdowns scored by Ohio State in the third quarter. And here is that beauty. Stroud to Harrison. Ohio State up 45-12. For today's Mayhem Moment brought to you by Allstate. One more look. Well, more than one more look. It deserves it. Just a moment ago, Joshua Stroud to Marvin Harrison Jr.
Again, difficult to put all the pieces together. Didn't even mention the protection on that play the first couple times around, but CJ Stroud is standing in a clean pocket. It's clear as day for him to have a window to throw through. That right there is the play I would have on rewind all week long if I'm Ohio State.
Arkansas State's had 4 drives that have produced field goals today. They open up the fourth quarter, and they do complete a pass. James Blackman to Emmanuel Stevenson, who has to absorb a pretty big hit from Josh Proctor after a 6-yard pickup.
I mentioned Josh Proctor earlier as an attitude guy on this Ohio State defense, and you see the type of physicality he brings when he delivers a hit, and it's something I know is valued within the Ohio State program.
Stevenson, who just caught the pass in motion on 3rd down and 4. Early fourth quarter in Columbus. Blackman steps up. There's room to run, and he leaps for the first down and appears to have it. Eichenberg and Cody Simon did everything they could to stop him, but Blackman stretches out and moves the sticks for the Red Wolves. That is now 2 for 12 on the day on 3rd downs for Arkansas State.
It's a rough day on 3rd downs.
That is, and you had to work hard for that 3rd and 4 pickup. They got a lot of dreaded 3rd and longs today. Here is a quick but low throw for Reagan Ely. It's incomplete. Of 34 now, the number for James Blackman. He completed 75% of his passes last week in a win over Grambling State.
Yeah. You know, Blackman's just been getting challenged, whether it's been the front guys, but also in the secondary. I know a couple of penalties on some holding, some pass interference, but the windows have been tight. It's hard to complete a football pass on this secondary right now.
They won't pass, they'll run. Marcel Murray wrestled down for 2. Here's Dave Repson in Chicago with a T-Mobile studio update.
Thanks, Mark. After falling behind 21-0 against Duke, Northwestern trying to rally on a 4th down. Evan Hull here gets the touchdown to cut it to 5, but Duke has scored a touchdown. They're up 12, 28-16.
Here, 12 is the number that Arkansas State has on the board today, but trailing the Buckeyes by 33. Now here's one of those snap count moments.
I believe that's the 4th one today. You know,
offside. Defense, number 91, entered the neutral zone and caused a reaction. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Hard to miss 318-pound Tyleek Williams in the neutral zone.
I'll tell you this much for Ohio State defensively. There are a lot of things in this game that you'll look back on and say, wow, we did a great job. There are other things that you can look at and say, we certainly need to improve upon. Tackling angles at times haven't been great. Pre-snap infractions, you certainly want to take a look at. You know, did you get schemed up on maybe some underneath routes? But outside of that, this has been a pretty clean day. You've held Arkansas State to just field goals anytime they've been in scoring position. I would take that as a dub.
Marcel Murray trying to fight forward on 3rd down, and he's wrestled down by Ty Hamilton. And what appears to be a yard shy of the first down, 4th and 1. Yeah, I think the biggest cleanup point after 7 penalties for 75 yards last week, the 9 for 85 for Ohio State would be a subject of discussion and refinement and cleanup over the next week.
A lot of refinement, a lot of cleaning up. And this is where you want to be at this point in the year, too. I think for this coaching staff and for these players, you want things that you can nitpick about, things that you can still correct up, even when you win big like this. So, again, a lot of good. There's some bad, but this is a great point for them to grow and learn.
You can still teach. Maybe easier to get the lessons across after a win, as a matter of fact. And that's what Ohio State is on the way to securing today. Football on the Big Ten Network is brought to you by State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. So you're seeing some pictures from the Australian adventure a few years ago of Ohio State center Luke Whippler. With more on that, Michelle McMahon.
Yeah, Mark, Luke Whippler is described as a warrior in the trenches. He also has that tenaciously adventurous spirit off the field. That was at 14 years old. He traveled by himself to Australia and New Zealand to visit his big brother, who lived there at the time, says it was the best trip of his life. They even went heli skiing and skydiving, which they did not inform their mother about until he arrived home safely. He's one of 5 kids, though, and told us whenever things get tough around football, he thinks back to that younger version of himself and how excited he would be to know that he'd be suiting up for the Buckeyes on game day.
I want to get back to that, but C.J. Stroud had to jump on a loose ball here on the snap, a loss of 4.
I mean, just the things you want to clean up at the end of the game. Things have been going pretty well offensively. Don't want to put the ball on the ground. Certainly don't want to put your quarterback at risk of having to dive on a football too. So the focus right now has to be great so you can get out of this game clean.
2nd down and 14 after the loss. And C.J. Stroud with the underneath throw. And tight end Cade Stover, big hit, but it makes his 2nd reception of the day. Yeah, the best part of that story is the skydiving.
Yes.
And, you know, Luke told us yesterday that he didn't have a SIM card, so the international phone plan wasn't working, so he didn't have to call mom ahead of time to talk about skydiving.
And I asked him, I said, Luke, were you scared of skydiving? And he says, no, to be completely honest, I was scared in the plane that we went up in. I wasn't scared once I jumped out of the plane. I'm like, oh my gosh, but I mean, you gotta live life on the edge a little bit to play down there in the trenches as good as he is too. So I see why that makes sense.
Starter all last season as well, and the starter at center this year, incomplete. And a marker. The dude on offense today has been Marvin Harrison Jr., and that's who C.J. Stroud was throwing the ball to. And a late flag has come in. Kenneth Harris on the coverage. Ohio State penalized 9 times today, as we were talking about a moment ago. This is the 7th Arkansas.
Foul on the play for pass interference. 4th down.
Pardon me, it's not the 7th penalty on Arkansas State.
Well, let's take a look at it and see what's happening here. I know it's going to be close. You want to make sure that you can contest the catches towards Marvin Harrison Jr. Does the coverage get there maybe a little bit early? I would say that's more than just a little bit early. You can see the contact before the ball gets in there. I think that was a missed call.
And by virtue of that, I mean, they got put off schedule with the bad snap, fumbled snap, and C.J. Stroud having to pounce on it for a loss on 1st down. And it will bring Jesse Mirko on to punt. Big boot by Mirko, and Johnny Lang fair catches. There's a timeout on the field with 10:43 to play. Next week, Iowa is at home against Nevada. Of course, they're playing Iowa State today. A.J. Mayer at quarterback for Arkansas State. Oh, my goodness, Jaquez Cross. Down he goes. True freshman, Caden Curry. Big moment for the Buckeye true freshman.
How about Caden Curry? A lot of people in Columbus have been very excited about the potential of this young man. And it's see ball, get ball, and look at the excitement, the celebration coming out here in the Horseshoe and making big plays.
The only true freshman on the field in last week's game against Notre Dame. Caden Curry had a few snaps, and that was a memorable snap. A TFL 6-yard loss. 2nd and 16 for A.J. Mayer and the Red Wolves. And Curry slams down Mayer. It's not a tackle for loss, but it's not much of a gain either.
Young man doing a really good job in the game right now. Again, making another play. And this is what Jim Knowles' defense allows these guys to do. If you see the insides open, you can take the inside, uses his hands really well to flash back and ultimately make the play.
And they've gone to Cody Simon at linebacker. Now, Cody had 10 starts last year, by the way, at linebacker. Chip Trainum is somebody that Jim Knowles told us yesterday he wanted to see get some reps at linebacker in the game. Transfer from Arizona State, but he's from Akron originally. Here's a throw by Mayer, and it is caught by Omari Walker. But Walker doesn't go very far after the catch, and Arkansas State has a 4th down and 10. Lathan Ransom with the tackle.
Cody Simon is a player I'd be interested to watch down the line. He's been in rotation in these first 2 games. He's made a couple of plays. He had one play earlier I wanted to show a replay of. Just really high awareness coverage. Maybe not one of the top backers on this roster. We know what Tommy Eichenberg provides. We've seen Steel Chambers make some high-end plays, but as a rotational guy right now and somebody who can continue to build, Cody Simon's been looking pretty good in these first couple of games.
Punt for the Red Wolves. Ryan Hansen. And fielded at the 14. Egbuka. Egbuka's gone all the way across the field and surges forward a return of just over 13 yards for Steilacoom, Washington's Emeka Egbuka. But that's Greenwood, Indiana's Caden Curry. His fingerprints all over that 3 and outs. Celebrating Fansville, brought to you by Dr. Pepper. Time to celebrate Fansville and college football with a nice cold Dr. Pepper. The one fans deserve. Just over 100,000 on hand today. Are those fans here in Columbus at the Shoe. The 593rd home game in 100 years of Ohio Stadium. Kyle McCord is in the game. And so is Dallin Hayden. So new quarterback hands off to new running back. Memphis Christian Brothers High School. Dallin Hayden, as a senior, ran for just over 2,000 yards and 33 touchdowns.
Yeah, Kyle McCord, the quarterback, is a guy who's been patient throughout his career playing behind C.J. Stroud. I know is not an easy thing. Most guys would jump in the transfer portal. McCord wants to be here, and he wants to improve on his game. And then you mentioned Hayden, the running back. When I came to practice this summer, a lot of coaches said, keep your eye on that guy. He's going to be a pretty good one.
Got it in the bloodlines. Dad Aaron Hayden, running back for the Chargers and the Packers and the Eagles in the 90s. Charles Willikis with a tackle here of Dallin Hayden. Run up to the 39-yard line. Well, the day for C.J. Stroud. I mean, you could not ask for much better. 16 out of 24, so 67%. 351 yards, 4 touchdowns.
That's what people wanted to see, and they got it.
And Hayden out of the backfield. Hit hard. The pads pop on the collision at the 42, 43-yard line. Doss with the tackle for Arkansas State. Last 7 minutes of the game. Next week, Toledo. Big Ten game with the Wisconsin Badgers. The week after that, Rutgers here on October 1st. Ohio State does not go on the road until they play in East Lansing against Michigan State on October the 8th. Running play by Dallin Hayden. Dave Rebson, Jerry Gennardo, and Howard Griffith recap the entire day of Big Ten football in the final drive presented by Auto Owners Insurance. Tonight at 11:30 Eastern on Big Ten Network. They got a lot of stacking on that show to do of recaps because all 14 Big Ten teams in action here in officially week 2 of the season. Those games the last weekend of August were week 0, week 1 last week, week 2 now.
I have been in there on a studio Saturday with 14 games on the network, and I'm telling the guys, I know they're watching and listening, have fun.
From the booth with love, signed Joshua Perry. For the booth in Columbus with love. Dallin Hayden running and catching on this drive. And here's Xavier Johnson. Got a couple of early passes, and Johnson goes low to secure that catch at the Red Wolves' 39-yard line.
I mean, the week he had last week, we talked about it earlier, but, you know, a guy who's really coming to his own, made some special plays a week ago, specifically that touchdown catch. The route was great, the catch was great, and he's a guy that is finally trustworthy to have a big role in this offense.
Jake Ballard, the other receiver right now, along with Xavier Johnson, to the outside and dragged down is Dallin Hayden. Ethan Hassler on defense, defensive end for Arkansas State. I loved hearing what Emeka Egbuka had to say about Xavier Johnson last week, and you know, the touchdown catch that he made. He said, I knew he could do it. I've seen him make that catch hundreds of times with the offseason jugs work that he's been doing.
You know, I've been coming back to watch training camp practice for the last couple of years with the Big Ten, you know, the preseason camp tour, and both years, this year, last year, the coaching staff said, hey, number 10's a guy. I don't know when he's going to play. I don't know what his role looks like, but we want to get him on the football field, and now's the time.
And his time on the field, as that was an incompletion for G. Scott Jr. on the pass by McCord. I mean, his time was catching a go-ahead touchdown in the third quarter against the number 5 team in the country, Notre Dame, last week.
Yes, and it was a phenomenal route that he had. He put his defender in the spin cycle, got them all turned around, got the nice over-the-shoulder catch, was able to celebrate, and then we know what happened on the ensuing kickoff.
Oh, yeah. Came down and made the tackle inside the 15-yard line.
I mean, it's pretty good.
That was another one of those plays that drew a thunderous eruption from his teammates when Ryan Day said they watched it on film in the champions meeting, the film meeting the next day. Speaking of, we can flash back. Here's the touchdown reception.
There it is. And watch this. Run down on kickoff. You're tired. It's tough. You got to beat it. Got to beat a guy. I mean, you threw him off there. And then here we go. Big time play.
4:20 left in the game. And it's Arkansas State ball at the 5-yard line. As Ohio State inches toward win number 2 of the season. Running play for the Red Wolves. This is what was going down during the last time out.
Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, knocked off your feet. Are you kidding me?
That's a hit a linebacker can appreciate.
You know what? I'm totally here for it. Looks like a lot of fun. You see a stray shoe.
That's a
on
literal
the turf.
decleater. A literal decleater.
I mean, there it is.
The fun today at the shoe. The most fun has been for Ohio State watching Marvin Harrison.
Yes.
With an extraordinary day. 7 grabs, 184 yards, 3 touchdowns. A.J. Mayer, fake handoff and run, keeps it to the 15-yard line. The day for Marvin Harrison Jr. with his 3 touchdowns. There he is. So 2 career 3 touchdown reception games. Wow, Joey Galloway 93-94, Marvin Harrison Jr. The Rose Bowl, the big win over Utah last year, and then the game today.
The 2 things that stand out about that is, number 1, I was born in '94, so something that hasn't happened since. It's pretty good. And number 2, Joey Galloway was a phenomenal player. So that's good company right there.
Incomplete pass for Mike Sharp II as Mayer was trying to hit him in motion out of the backfield. And Arkansas State will be punting again here with 2:46 left in the game. Ohio State cycled in Kyle McCord at quarterback and Dallin Hayden at running back on the last drive. There's Butch Jones, head coach for Arkansas State. They had the number 2 recruiting class amongst Group of 5 conference teams. Tops in the Sun Belt. This was an Arkansas State Red Wolves team that won 5 conference championships in a 9-year run, 2011 through 2019, went to a bowl game every year. And is this a recovery? Did that hit an Ohio State player? It did.
Wow.
Miscue on the punt, and it's a turnover for the Buckeyes, which is their first one of the season.
Yeah, I mean, trying to get a block downfield, and it's a short punt. You can't locate the ball necessarily. This is a communication thing on the returner. You have to be telling your blockers to get away because the ball is short. They can't see it, so you have to put them on alert for it.
Now the discussion point would be, was J.K. Johnson blocked into the ball? Cam Martinez, by the way, with Smith and Jigba being injured, Emeka Egbuka is the #1 punt returner. But Ryan Day said this week, we do need to get some other players' experience back there in the punt return game. That was Cam Martinez back to return the punt. But it is Arkansas State in possession of the football, and running it is Jaquez Cross, Fordyce, Arkansas, redshirt freshman. And for the Buckeyes, Kenyatta Jackson with a tackle. Down to the last 2 minutes of today's game. Ohio State about to be 55-0 against Group of 5 teams since 2000. Play in space made there by Lathan Ransom. Scheduled to air next, the Big Ten Live football game break presented by Velveeta. Breaks down all the action and gets you ready for the rest of our triple header on the Big Ten Network.
That was a smart play right there by Lathan Ransom, not to go for the kill shot. You want to see these big hits and you want to knock the ball out, and a lot of times they end up being targeting calls. You have to know as a defender when to take your chance and when to be smart.
Jim Knowles, the defensive coordinator yesterday, as this is a pass completed by Jaden Milliner, that is. Jim Knowles told us yesterday that he's a hot-hand guy. And even though Lathan Ransom wasn't the starter last week, he played so well, 7 tackles against Notre Dame. And he was on the field a ton in the critical second half where they didn't allow a point to the Fighting Irish.
That's right. Jim Knowles said that Lathan Ransom is dynamic with his reads. He's a guy who really fits into the scheme of this safety-driven defense. So to see him out there making plays, I know makes everybody within that building happy.
Chip Traynham makes that play with a tackle on the run by A.J. Mayer. Arkansas State has scored on 4 drives today, but they've all been field goals, and you see the sense of urgency here. They'd love to punch it in the end zone as they snap it right now from the 23-yard line of the Buckeyes in the last minute of the game. This was set up after the fumble on the punt a moment ago, and it's an incompletion. Throwing in the direction of Omari Walker. Jair Brown was on coverage. There's the man of the hour, the man of the 3 hours, Marvin Harrison Jr.
It's been a big day for him, and he's another guy who had expectations, and people ask the question, would he live up to the hype, or would it just be hype? And so far he looks really good. Now for him, how do you parlay this into a similar performance when you get into conference play against better competition? But everything that we saw was great.
3rd down and 6, and an underneath pass. Cody Simon with the tackle as Miller McCrumbie was the player who caught it, freshman tight end from Mount Pleasant, Texas. Down to 28 and counting. I'm sorry, 33 seconds. The play clock at 28 and counting. Handoff inside. Mike Sharp the second. Arkansas State still trying to get another snap or two off here before the end of the game. It's a pass into the end zone for Amari Walker. And it was Cam Martinez on coverage, and that leaves 8 seconds left in today's game.
I'll tell you what, I've been the young guy on defense in the game in this situation, trying not to give up a touchdown when the first team didn't give up a touchdown all day. And it's a really stressful situation to be in as a young player. But it's good because it is a valuable rep.
Eight seconds left. Mayer chased by Hamilton, and he does throw it. Lee stayed behind the line of scrimmage. He completed it to Amari Walker, but that is the last play of the game. 45-12, Ohio State defeats Arkansas State today at the Horseshoe in Columbus. Arkansas State now 1-1. Ohio State is 2-0. We'll be back to wrap things up right after this as Butch Jones and Ryan Day shake hands after this big win for the Buckeyes. Stay with us here on the Big Ten Network.